Here we are then. It's like the end of term here on Racing Post Live. The end of the week at Royal Ascot. We've brought you every day so far. Delighted to tell you we carry on. Absolutely no problems about inspections or anything like that. Dry overnight at Ascot. Still going to be pretty sloppy though. Non-runners all over the place. I think we counted 16 in the races that we're doing. We'll be giving you the first 6 races on the card. Right from the Chesham up towards the Golden Gates Handicap. The 6:10 will be the Queen Alexandra as well. If you've got any questions for the panellists that I'm about to introduce you to, do get them in, whether you're watching on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe if that's your method. If you're on Facebook Live, get involved on the chat, like there as well, and anything on Twitter. Today, it's hashtag RP Live. Along with the Betfair Exchange, we will be bringing you the very best of the action. An alternative view. We've been having great fun this week. We've been sending in some awesome feedback for us. Thank you ever so much. We've got some lovely new viewers as well. Numbers have been wonderful. Let's enjoy the party, shall we? Get some winners on the board. It's all about profit. Who has been here this week? Wonderful talent, but I'm delighted to say back, he's Mr. Energetic. Mattie Batchelor comes on. A Royal Ascot rider.
Yes, many moons ago, Dave, when I was a lot lighter.
This day as well, wasn't it?
This day, yeah, the 2 mile 6 race, yeah.
Yes. Well, you weren't. If you'd have said Diamond Jubilee to me, Dave, I would have been thinking, "Oh, I'm not sure about that." But you did have a ride in that, didn't you? So you've experienced it all. You've been there many times as well, Batchelor, and you love your flat. You obviously accomplished a great deal in the jumps game, but this is right up your street, isn't it?
Yeah, I had a few rides on the flat to sort of help my style, but that didn't sort of progress.
Yes, indeed. Moving on,
that didn't happen. Yeah, so yeah, I'm hoping the last day to give me a lift, especially after the football last night, Dave. Not very good.
Oh, you had to mention it. Had to get it in.
Well, we had to bring it up, didn't we? Really?
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah, a little bit flat. Like yesterday felt a bit flat, didn't it? But we ended on an absolute high. Those of you that have been regular viewers following us yesterday, we had a bit of a hoodoo coming into this, not since Cheltenham. Unbelievable. Unbelievable scenes. Had Graeme Rodway put up a winner on Racing Post Live. That all changed yesterday, of course. The floodgates are open.
It did, Dave. Yeah, I'm coming in here on a high now. We got off that monkey off our back yesterday. Just kept hitting the post. Seconds, thirds, ones that I really fancied. But good Oisin Murphy, he's absolutely flying this week, isn't he? And he gave my selection a lovely ride, didn't he? Quick Fawn.
Yeah.
Came through, won nicely. And then now it's all systems go for the last day. I'm absolutely delighted to be back on the winner's sheet.
Yeah, absolutely. You've passed the monkey to me, I think. In fact, I feel like I've got about 5 on my shoulder at the minute because I was naught from yesterday. I need to pull my socks up, but I'm seeing the ball big. Don't you worry about that. As I'm sure also my partner in crime will be all week from Betfair, the big hitter himself, Barry Orr. Here we go, Barry. One more push.
Yeah, good afternoon, gentlemen. We're turning into the home straight. The bell used to ring in Ascot, and I can hear that bell ringing in my ear. We've a couple of furlongs to race, Dave. You're still on hard on the snaff. I'm sending out the stress signals, especially after yesterday. But feeling confident we're going to get money today for the charity, as you know. And we'll just reiterate, I'm just here to show the functionality of exchange and how we're so different to traditional bookmakers. You can back or lay on the Betfair Exchange, something you can't do with bookmakers. And you can set your own odds, or you can take odds that are there. You can bet in all sorts of different markets as well, place markets, A versus B, match bets, if that's what you want to have. So huge difference between the Betfair Exchange and traditional bookmakers. I'm going to try to highlight the functionality of that, and hopefully along the way win a few quid for charity. We're 725 quid bank for racing welfare, and hopefully we can add to that today.
Yeah, that's the racing workforce, Barry. Sterling job this week. Started at an absolute big bang, didn't he, Barry? And something tells me he might be finishing one as well. He's got the laying boots on. Where are you going then today? Who are your naps? What's the performance of the week? That's something I'd like to tease out there. Maybe in order, your 1, 2, 3 of the week. Who are the horses we should be taking out of this? Let us know. Hashtag RP Live, YouTube, get involved, Facebook Live. You can send them in. Will and Dan in the gallery today. They will sift through them and put them up on the screen. There you go. You've got the market in front of you. New to the show, you'll see the market. This is the Betfair Exchange, what the bookies all trade on. This is where the real money is going. All the late moves, it happens right there on your screens. We'll be giving you free premium Racing Post content as well. The spotlight selections will be coming up in the corner there. Don't forget to download the app. Get involved. Let's have some fun. The weather's not great out there, is it? So this is the place to be. We'll be giving some great reactions through the race. Who is going to win the first race? It's the Chesham Barrier. This has become a classy contest.
Yeah, it has, and I think the conditions of the race lend itself to horses that are going to go on and progress as they step up in trip. But Point Lonsdale, very warm favourite for Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore. Haven't had a great week so far, this crew, but it is a race that they do love. Aidan O'Brien has a great record in this race, and this is a very warm favourite indeed. Won a Curragh Maiden by 5.5 lengths. Traded at 6.8 in running, despite going off 7-4 favourite. Got out and tried to make all. Just looked like he was coming under a bit of pressure, but when the penny finally dropped, he really did take off in the last couple of furlongs. But like I said, traded at 6.8 in running. So that's just something to be careful about. The second has been beaten since, albeit just ahead. The fourth and fifth had both been beaten in maidens before that. So it mightn't have been that great a race, but this is meant to be Aidan O'Brien's banker of the meeting. But it's something I'm going to take on. Australia, its sire, is not noted for his precocious 2-year-old, so this one seems to be well forward. But I'm happy enough to take him on. There's plenty of horses in the race have chances. Oisin Murphy's horse, Mascala. New Science is not without a chance. Radio Caroline at 55 on the Betfair Exchange was a horse I was giving a bit of a life to. That won over 7 furlongs in Haydock on heavy ground. And it looked really tough that day because it was coming up the centre of the track. The runner-up had the rail to run against. So she's not without a chance. She gets her allowance as well, the £5 being a filly. So we're going to kick off really straightforward here, G-Rod, please. Get your chubby little fingers on those keyboards and let's do this. 2.24. 2.24. We're taking 50 quid at the backer stake here. Pink delay. We're happy to be a layer here. And we're happy to take to be an odds taker here. 2.24. We're going to take 50 quid out of it. So it's around 5 to 4 to lose 62 quid or something. Yep. And we have the field running for us. So we're betting the field at 4 to 5, basically, is what we're doing here. We've every other horse running first. We've bet against Point Lonsdale winning.
Yeah, see, when you hear it like that, betting the field at 4 to 5, it does sound rather appealing, doesn't it? But this is the banker of the week for the Ballydoyle boys, very much so. And this is a race that when they go for one in it, he's won 4 of the last 10 with some top notchers as well. They tend to collect. So let's find out what the panel are doing. Chubby little fingers, he said. I bet you're good on the ivories, though, aren't you? I can imagine
that
you.
In the nicest
well, we knew that, Barry. Don't
that be in the nicest possible way. You're a chubby finger.
Oh, he wouldn't have said it to you, Batch, would he? I probably would have got it. But I can imagine you on the ivories. I could just see you behind a grand piano. But are they? How's the hand today? Because you did celebrate the winner last night.
I did celebrate the winner, although England's performance rather put a dampener on the night a little bit, Dave. I must admit.
Not unless you're north of the border. They were really rocking.
Yeah, it
in
was
London.
absolutely rocking and rolling in London with the Scottish fans. The Tartan Army were out in force, and good luck to them. They had a great time. No, I used to work with someone in Racing Post, and they said, G-Rod, you are the loudest typer I have ever heard in all my life. You know, so maybe it is the chubby fingers that create all the noise. Anyway, Masakela was the one, wasn't it?
You were talking about this yesterday.
Waffling on about this yesterday.
Waffling, yeah.
Waffling.
Now, this is based purely on an interview, really, that was on ITV earlier in the week when Oisin Murphy won one of the later races, and he named a few of his best chances later in the week, and he named Dragon Symbol as one. I think he might name Snarman as another. And among them, instead of mentioning some of the winners, he actually mentioned Masakela, which suggests to me that they must have thought that this was among the best of Boarding's juveniles. And of course, he's already had 2 Boarding winners, haven't we, in the juvenile race?
2-year-olds, yeah.
2 2-year-old winners. Both won first time out, just like Masakela. Axed on soft ground, because the first time up was soft ground.
Goodwood.
I was quite happy to take about 4 to 1 this morning. However, of course, he is now trading at 7.2 on Betfair. So over 6 to 1 on Betfair now, if you want to back him at a much bigger price than I've got. A little bit worrying, especially as I had a closer look at the race this morning and
His Goodwood win, you mean?
No, a closer look at this race and thought
Chesham.
thought that Great Max was a huge danger, and typically didn't back him at a bigger price, and there's a lot of money for him now. So the market has sort of gone the opposite way to the way I've played it. But I think they've both got huge chances, Masakela and Great Max. I'm going to stick with Masakela because I've been blowing the trumpet for him all week.
But will you be covering on, I mean, of course, look, we have to put up headline tips, of course, for you. That's what we want to do. We'll give you our strongest hopes. Not just Barry that's doing it, of course. We're putting ourselves in the firing line, if you like, on that front. But, we back more than one horse in a race, don't we? And again, Batchelor's still a licensed individual, so you won't be doing that.
Yes.
But you'll be. I mean, you could. I imagine when you do your box work, and when you've been at Brighton this week, haven't you, on the MCing?
Yes.
Doing a bit of that on the old skibbities, and you would say, look, this is if you're looking for a trifecta, if you're looking for 3 to hit the frame, these would be your 3. So you will have a bit on Great Max because it's a price that allows for that, isn't it, G?
Yeah, I mean, I have backed both. But I am seriously worried about this Massacala drift because it is just going bigger and bigger and bigger on Betfair every time I look. And I don't have a problem with backing 2 in one race, as you know, Dave. Do you?
No, not at all.
Especially at Royal Ascot in particular.
I have had a bit on Great Max before we get back to his tip, but I think this is going to win, this favourite, Point Lonsdale. I was really impressed with it when it won on its debut. I know the second has been beaten, but as Barry said, that was a horse called Unconquerable from Donica's stable. At the Curragh, this was so impressive. And it is the best time I can find.
Yeah, very good time, wasn't it?
Very good time. Great Max was just behind it as well. My worry about Great Max, it was only 9 days ago at Newbury, and this must have been a rush to get him here. You know, maidens can run in this race, and some have often won it.
Don't believe in that, Dave.
What, the quick turnaround?
Yeah, I wouldn't see that as a massive worry.
It's just for a 2-year-old, for me, 9 days is plenty sharp enough. Are you telling me that at the start of May, if they'd have found a nice race, or maybe in the middle of May, or even the start of June, you know, I mean, it's
Depends on the individual horse, really. Some 2-year-olds,
It does.
some 2-year-olds can take it.
Of course
some
it
can't.
does.
So
But when I see a single figure break, I have to have everything in place. But listen, I was impressed with him. He did all his best work late at Newbury.
Think he'd gone on the ground, Dave?
The ground is the other thing, isn't it? Let's remind myself of Great Max's sire when I go into it. Yes, Orton Bassett, isn't it? Who Barry has been saying for quite a long time is the great white hope of sires now at Ballydoyle. So this would be a big win for them. They've had, in typical Ballydoyle style, winners all over the place from other yards have been highlighting their operation. Orton Bassett, I think they could have probably done without it. But he's a nice big horse and he pounds it. But I'm looking at this Point Lonsdale on the screen. He's going odds on now. This is
getting smashed up.
Yeah, this is and do you remember, Barry? I told a story about when I met Sir Michael Stout after Crystal Ocean won the Prince of Wales Stakes last year, and he told me when Magical got beaten, don't worry, it's all tiddlywinks to them. This is them being Sir Michael Tabor, you know, and the Smiths and the Magnias and stuff. When they go for one, and they do like to have fun with the betting, this is the sort of thing that they will be expecting to get over the line. He's drawn in 7. Everything looks right for me. He won't be too far away. If he runs that Curragh run, he's probably won this already, I think. So it's him and Great Max for me. Batch.
Hold on, you're picking the favourite
Yeah.
and Great Max.
I've had a bit on Great Max as well. I've covered my stake
Right, okay.
on Great Max.
All right.
So I was trying to do a lead.
You're absolutely desperate for a winner, aren't you?
I'm desperate for a winner. You're quite right. But Graeme, I don't mind hitting the shorty if I think it's going to win. You know, I've got no.
I don't have a problem with that, but I'm not sure I'll be backing one at a big price as well. I mean, if you think the shorty's going to win, then you just.
I've got a feeling that Great Max. I don't like the vibes on New Science.
When I back 2 in a race, you know, they're always 2 good priced horses, Dave. I wouldn't back the odds.
You back them each way then when they're 2 good priced horses. One digress slightly. You do.
Yeah.
Tom Segal would scold you about that, wouldn't he, and say just save your stake.
I don't really understand that though, because you know we all know that place markets, particularly at Royal Ascot, when they're offering huge, you know, they're betting massively over broke on the place market.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you take advantage of it? I don't get that argument from Segal, but you know, it's his choice, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of people thought that made sense. I must admit, I don't do it like that, but I haven't backed Great Max each way. I've saved my stake based on for the win as well. But Point Lonsdale, I think this is also we're going to be looking at Glorious Goodwood, probably in some of the better races later on as well. So I hope I'm proven right. Batch.
I did like Mascala. Drifting's worrying a little bit.
Massacala. Trumpetist.
The
Massacala.
South African trumpetist.
Yes. I got my words mixed up.
Point Lonsdale's
loving that.
being backed, so it's not defeats out of the question. I like the horse Reach for the Moon, finished second to New Science at Yarmouth, looked very, very green.
Thought he might reverse that form.
Yeah, come on for that.
Yeah.
See, he's gone down in a red hood just to switch him off, calm him down.
A lot now, Batch, don't we? Horses in this red hood that go down to the start, whip it off beforehand, so don't get down there too
settles them down,
sweaty and buzzy.
So Massacala? Massacala.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll give a chance to Reach for the Moon as well, because I think he improved from the run at Yarmouth.
He was very green. Watch that back.
Very green.
They are actually going in. So listen, good luck wherever you're playing in the opener. It is the Chesham Stakes. Saturday is underway. Join the party. Let us know you're out there. And a very good luck wherever you are playing. Off and running they go then. Everything's pretty much nicely away, aren't they? Let's just go down. Who are we expecting?
Come on, give us a toe on that far side.
Sweeping is up there then for Archie Watson and Holly Doyle. God, Archie Watson could do with a change of luck. Will he
bit
get
free,
it
this
later on?
O'Brien favourite?
Possible. He's just, I don't know, he's nice
he's
and
all right.
enthusiastic in about third or fourth. On the far side, Reach for the Moon. Frankie Dettori doing his own work, giving a lead to Masakela from stall 1, of course. On the near side, who's that? We've got Radio Caroline. Barry thought that might go well at a price. Great Max, James Doyle, Michael Bell, money for that. Tracking Point Lonsdale through the race. New Science not leading this time. He's got a nice lead from Sweeping up the middle. And in the middle, out in Yorkshire, I think I've just about covered them all. They're not going quick. G, are they?
No, I don't think they're slow the whole way. This Aidan O'Brien favourite's absolutely cruising Point Lonsdale.
Yeah. He just wants a lead, I think. He just keeps having a lead. He's still a little bit green, isn't he? Now, the Gosden thing, Frankie saying go. Sweeping, though, and Archie Watson still out there. Is he in a bit of trouble, Batch's favourite?
I think he is. Unless he picks up a little bit, he needs to pick up a bit more than he is now.
He's picking up now. Has the leader gone? Holly Doyle, what's she saved? Here comes Great Max as well on the near side. The favourite's not done with yet. In fact, now the turbo's kicking in. Point Lonsdale, Reach for the Moon on the far
Very
side.
tight,
He's
Dave,
over
it's
another
very
corner.
tight.
Green as grass, isn't he, this favourite?
I think he's going to
Ryan
get there.
Moore's given this the kitchen sink, though.
Not gonna get
Is he
there.
going to get him? Frankie's on the far side. I think he's
gonna
near
get
side,
there,
guys.
he's
Is
getting
it?
up.
Reach for the Moon and far side. Oh, the favourite's won.
Yay, got
Favourite has won. Okay, wow. Reach for the Moon on the far side, a very good horse in the making as well. But that, Barry Orr, was kitchen sink stuff. Ryan Moore wasn't going to disappoint the lads.
No, he certainly wasn't. And I don't know why Frankie didn't pull his whip through to his right hand and tried to steady up Reach for the Moon, who traded at a low of 1.55. So 4-9 Reach for the Moon. Traded in running. Point Lonsdale hit a high of 6.6 in running. Strange one from Frankie. He seemed happy enough to let the horse run across to drift over to his right without trying to straighten him up. I don't know whether he thought he had the beating of the run of the winner, but didn't work out this time for Frankie.
I'd suggest that you might have just summarised that well there, Barry. I think your final point. I got a feeling he thought he had this favourite cooked, and of course the Queen is in attendance today, which is a wonderful thing, isn't it? Her Majesty's had to miss out. I say have to miss out. I think protocols, wasn't it? The first couple of days we saw her arriving in. Oh, she would have been getting excited then. But this, I just had a feeling, Graeme. We've seen this before in the Chesham. We saw it with Battleground last year, and this chap is not small either, is he? Once they get the message, and Ryan Moore, it was always going to be one outcome, I think. He's quite well on top at the line.
Yeah, he looks like a stayer, don't he?
Yes.
He looks, for a 2-year-old, fairly slow, I'd say, but...
Still very green as well.
You know, they didn't go...
They crawled.
A great pace. Frankie wound it up from the front, probably almost stole it, and then the class, he's obviously... You know, well above these, I think. When
Holly Doyle was the one on the near
race.
side, wasn't she? She when you see Holly in front and last off the bridle, you think she's done it again. She's timed it perfectly again, but that has been outclassed in the end. It was a very good ride from Holly if you back Sweeping. A horse that it looks like he's nicely bred. Nice horse.
He didn't blow me away, did he,
No.
you, Dave?
No,
I mean,
no.
if
This is
he's Aidan O'Brien's best juvenile or one of his,
Do you know who this reminded me of a bit? And maybe Barry
he won,
could back this
didn't
up
he?
as well. This reminded me a little bit of Churchill. Battleground was a little bit like that as well. These are previous winners, by the way, of the Chesham. I remember being there when Churchill won. I was up with some people and they said, this is the one. This is the one of the week that they're going for. I think he finished 7th or something, Anthony Churchill, something ridiculous on his debut. That has drifted right across as well, so very green. And Churchill looked in a spot of bother. Then the turbo kicks in. And Aidan O'Brien, he's a bit of a master. I said I was worried about Great Max rushing into it. I don't think it was ideal that only 17 days ago Point Lonsdale. I think they rushed him a little bit as well. Is he a star? Let us know out there. What do you think, Batch? Probably not.
Listen, it's too early to say. They've got a lot of potential. They obviously think a lot of him. And he's got the job done. He was running all over the place, as you can see, past the line. He's running to the gap to go back down the chute.
So you were getting off him now, Batch, and you were going back to Aidan O'Brien and the lads, and you were going to have your debrief with Paul Smith and all that sort of thing. Would you be saying exactly what you've just said to me there? The fact he's won, that's impressed me, guys.
That's it. The fact that he's won, he's gone and got the job done, and they haven't. The first two haven't helped each other because they're quite wide apart. You need to get a bit closer. He's there on his own.
Greenness, isn't it?
It's greenness, yeah.
He's seen a lot of daylight, G, hasn't he? If you remember at the Curry, he had the rail towards the end, didn't he? And that was obviously completely contrasting, circumstances. He's had to travel over as well, and
Yeah, I mean, he's done it he's won, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's it. The job's done.
Sort of workmanlike.
Definitely workmanlike.
It wasn't outrageously impressive, but I don't think the race set up for him to be outrageously impressive because they crawled, and to me, he looks like the sort of horse who would be far better off a stiffer pace.
Yes.
You know, the stronger they go, the more his turbo is going to come into it towards the end of the race. I think he'd be a much better horse in a different type of race setup, but you know he's got the job done, hasn't he? So that's all
he absolutely has. We'll be sticking with the 7 furlong track for the Jersey coming up at 3:05, but plenty of time to digress and give some feedback about that. We'll pick through some of the others as well. Let's talk about the second then, Reach for the Stars. Frankie made his own pace on the far side, gave a lead to your Masakela, who blew out.
Yeah, blew out.
He wasn't on song, was he? Absolutely not. Bum note.
Justified.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, the drift, he just sort of hasn't picked up at all, G, has he? He looked very, very one-paced.
No, I felt like the writing might be on the wall a little bit when I saw the price on Betfair. I don't often get put off by drifts, but when you see him go from 7 to 2, when I've taken 7 to 2 and it's trading at 9.2 on Betfair, you know, you do start to wonder.
A couple of those today throughout the day.
Today,
Ron Priestley would be another one, just silly prices. You know, like, what's going on here? You know?
And the other, Great Max ran very well. The finished third.
Considering the pace scenario, and they waited with him a lot, didn't they?
Yeah.
If you're on a hold-up horse, which again, a lot of people, we all know this, Dave, they'll be screaming, but new people at the news show, if you're on a horse that's out the back, you need to go quick so they come back to you a little bit, because you can't keep up the pace, basically. So if in a steadily run race, when you're on a hold-up horse, it's not the place to be more often than not. And he has run well. And again, considering it came 9 days ago, I would be marking him up a little bit on that as well. Personally, I know you wouldn't.
No, I thought it was, it was a massive career best anyway.
Yeah.
In third, obviously.
And Michael Bell's got a nice horse there, hasn't he?
Once.
I think, listen, there's the first sort of 4 that I own there probably turn out, there's a lot of improvement in them all. And this fella could go to the top. And even the second horse, the Queen's horse, that's another good prospect, I think.
Yes, absolutely. Let's talk about the runner-up then. If you remember, the thing that strikes me about this chap is John Gosden and Thady have his son now in training partnership, of course. There has been a lot written and a lot said by John about his younger horses. In fact, the worst classic crop I've ever had. He didn't really have a 2-year-old last year. Magellan, second in the Dante, smart horse, but no absolute rock star, no Kingmans, you know. And he said, didn't he, about a month ago, G, in one of our report, I can't remember who the reporter was, it might have been David Milnes, forgive me, whoever it was that did it. We've got our eye on a couple for the Chesham, he said. And they hadn't run. And then when this chap ran, you thought to yourself, oh, okay. Because to run in the Chesham, you've got to be by a sire that's won over at least 1.2 miles, haven't you, basically? That's the restriction of the race. With it's for stayers, basically, at least 1 mile. So you're looking to see down, right, what's the Gosden's got? Everyone was kind of like scrambling about to see him. And the fact that this has finished second, he's probably been very green at home. He was still green in the race. Could he be better than the favourite going forward?
No, I don't think he will be, because I thought he got the best ride in the race and still didn't beat him. But yeah, he's a nicely bred horse, isn't he? Do you remember the
Stars?
Golden Stream? She was the Queen's mare. She was quite used to herself.
Most of the mares from the Queen are from her big stud, aren't they?
Yeah,
Stud and all that sort of stuff.
she was pretty good. I think he'd be useful. That was a quote that I didn't really get from Gosden there, where he really had a go at his young horses. Was it the worst he's had or something? I mean, it's only really in the last 7-8 years that he's had an amazing crop, isn't it? I mean, when Sir Henry Cecil was in his pomp, John Gosden was a very good trainer, but he wasn't dominant. It's only since the last sort of 5, 6, 7, 8 years he's taken over the dominant mantle at Newmarket, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Since the sad passing of Sir Henry, of course.
The thing is, John Gosden's bad cropped is someone's very good.
Well, absolutely. I mean,
it depends how you
Barry, he's still leading trainer at the meeting right now, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he is. Yeah, what's he on, 4 or 3? Is he?
4.
He's
I think
3
you
or
said
4.
earlier.
Yeah. He's a bad season for him is still a top season for most people. You know, but just such is the high standards that they have in Clarehaven. But just on that race there, Dave, I just saw a head on, and you could nearly mark up the winner, because although Ryan Moore had his whip in his left hand, he's hung right across to the stands rail. Point Lonsdale. So, obviously still very green. They got him across the line. Gamble landed. He's returned 1.980. It was 2.9, so nearly 2-1 into even money. But I'd say you could mark up the winner, and I'd say the second's a good horse as well. See the Stars colt. So they'll both improve for step up and trip. I'd say you'd see them in something like potentially the Grand Criterium or something like that. That mile 2 race that Gear Up won last year in Champy. You know, that mile 2 2-year-old race or something like that.
Yeah, I make you right, Barry. I was tempted to think something like Royal Lodge, Vertem Futurity, the old Racing Post Trophy. But with their winners of the Chesham, it's interesting. And again, you're going to get all the quotes out there, you guys out there, you know, in your members club, or they've been in tomorrow's paper. Straight after the race, it takes usually about half an hour for the analysts to get them and tag them onto the race analyst screens. But you'll be getting quotes usually for the top 3 in these races, hopefully. And I'm sure John will say that he's seen the stars out of the saddle as well as Mare. As Graeme said, I've got a feeling that they'll be fairly positive about it. And the temptation with these Ballydoyle horses that win the Cheshire is to go somewhere like the vintage stakes, like Battleground did. You know, these sort of like slightly faster 2-year-old races, like the Dewhurst, the Royal Lodge, maybe not even the Royal Lodge. You know, so it'll be fascinating to see where they point them. I'd be a little bit more positive as well. Kinky Cadet opens the show from our viewer interaction. You make the show out there, keep it coming, and very timely. I'm going to call you Cadet, not Kinky, I think. I've had enough.
Not sure that's true.
I've got enough. I've got, what?
Not sure that's right.
I thought you meant the name.
Kinky Cadet.
Well, what's she... what?
Says, I wish horses had trackers. Point covered much more ground than any other, drifting all over the shop.
There's a reason why he doesn't read these out.
Now... now...
You're like a heart monitor, man, with no beep.
He's flatlined.
He's not Masekela, is he? He's not Masekela. But no, that's a fair point, because Trackers is... OK.
Here, look, we're just seeing got
the head on.
The head on here, right? Now, he does drift markedly, but it is literally...
Massively.
It is literally 4 or 5 strides from the line. Like, he runs straight until 4 or 5 strides from the line, and then after the line, he goes massively towards the stand side. So although on the head-on, I agree, he does go massively left, no doubt about it.
That race.
But he didn't do it until the absolute final stride. So I don't think he lost that much ground before the race had finished. You know what I mean? After the race, I think, was when he went miles towards the stand side, probably going towards the exit, towards where the paddock is.
2 points there. 2 points there. Undoubtedly, the horse was very green, and he's got the job done. Hopefully, we're saying we think he's an ice horse. He certainly looks like an ice horse. He's bred to be. He's Broome's half-brother. Broome, favourite for the Hardwicke, our 3rd race. So that we're going to see the family very well advertised. The further he goes up in trip, the better he should be. You're right, he's not a quick 2-year-old. But Kinky's point, I said I was going to call it the Cadet. Not Kinky, I've been in enough trouble this week. Kinky, let's go for it, why not? It's the final day, isn't it? The Kinky one says... the Kinky one says a very valid point, because Ron Wood, for example, who runs the analysis department close-ups, he's the form editor, as we call him at the Racing Post, loves his Maidan stuff. As you'll probably know out there, you know, your Dubai's, your American stuff like that. He was so obsessed with the trackers, as they call them, that they use in America and Australia and in Dubai, which is basically a little chip in the saddlecloth, which tells you what ground you've covered. And those people that like looking at graphs after races, it won't be you probably, straight after. No, you're like, but something that's been drawn on the outside, how much ground, they think it's imperative for our racing. So it is a very good point, and it's something that we're yet to see over here. Modern technology.
Probably never will.
Probably never will. No, we're still waiting for
sectional timings on motor, although we have got them this week.
We have, quite right. All the big meetings we usually do, and of course they're very important, and they are fascinating to read. Although I think go down that route about how they should be presented.
Just on the trackers thing, I actually think it's probably a bigger thing in American stroke Dubai racing, because the tracks are a lot tighter. You know, so if you go wide
on a turn, aren't they?
Yeah, if you go wide in America, you're going around the tight bend wide. In Britain, generally speaking, our tracks are a lot fairer.
Are you suggesting it would be more pertinent during the all-weather, because you see horses track wide at Chelmsford, for example, at Kempton, they're beaten from after a fair.
Yeah, possibly. Another tight tracks, aren't they?
Exactly. Okay, so interesting. The beautiful thing about our racing in Britain and Ireland is the idiosyncrasies of our tracks. That's why we are the envy of the world. They're all so different. But a very good point, well made. And all these points, you can get them in. We will debate across, and the reaction through the race as well. Hey, and I've got that monkey off my back. There's no Rodways in here.
I'm not letting you claim that one.
There's no Rodways in here. I had the first and the third, mate. Where's Masekela?
1.98.
He's claiming that, G.
Masakela's under the piano, isn't he? Looking for the sauce, I think.
I know mine was favourite, but at least it was 7-2. 1.98. and you tipped the other a loser.
Oh, well, that is harsh, isn't it? I'll give you the first and the third. What did you want me to do? Give you the trifecta? I'll tell you what. The bear has been poked already.
Did you do the swinger?
Yeah,
The swinger pulls have been good, haven't they?
everyone's eyebrows raised there. OK, let us move on then. One race down on the final day of Royal Ascot. How long ago, Barry, does it seem that Palace Pier won that Queen Anne?
No, it seems a lifetime ago almost, but we've enjoyed every race, haven't we? Really?
Yeah.
It's been fantastic, and we've still got so much more to come. So looking forward to this. This is a pretty open race now on the Betfair Exchange, betting 7.4 to field. So that's 13-2 to field. No real standout here. Creative Force 13-2. You have Musabek, who's currently 8.2, 8.6 Naval Crown. Khartoum 10.5 from 12. So some money for that. Ryan Moore multi on the march here. Storm Damage 12. Tactical 15. The Queen's Horse. Belosa is 18.5, and that's what I fancy in it. Jane Chapman Hines filly.
Okay.
It gets the £3 allowance. I thought she was really impressive when she broke her maiden in Newmarket on the Rowley Mile. She won by 7 lengths that day, and then they sent her to a fillies listed race again in Newmarket. She was 6-4 favourite, and she won 2 lengths. She was really she looked really strong running filly that day, and pulled it out of the bag. Looked like a filly that there was more to come from. She's relatively unexposed, and I think she could run a really good race at a big price. So she's currently 18.5 G-Rod. So what we'll do with those diamond digits of yours, we will go 25 quid at 18.5. And again, happy to be a price taker here. 18.5. We'll take 25 quid of that. And then we'll look at the additional place. Standard place terms here is 3. But you can also bet 4 or 5 places on the Betfair Exchange. And we'll go to the 4-place market, please, G-Rod. And we'll look at her. Belosa in the 4-place market is currently trading at 4.5 I have here. So we'll have 25 quid on it, 7-2 to finish in the first 4 and 18.5 to win the race. So I'm happy with Belosa here. I think she's an improving filly, like the trainer when they step up in company, and I thought there was a lot to like about her winning the list race in Newmarket, albeit against other fillies.
She is an absolutely fascinating filly, Barry. I'll give you that. 2 from 2. In fact, probably the only unbeaten horse. Of course, there's a once raced Said Bin Surah horse, Storm Damage in here as well, assuming that does run. We've got lots of non-runners on the day as we manage. Just the one here, Ace Aussie. For Jesse Harrington's doesn't want the ground, we don't think so. This is a bit of a minefield, isn't it? Let's just concentrate on Belosa for a second. I guess the run style would be the one thing. I know that Paul Keely's a big fan of this Barry, this filly.
Oh yeah.
And I went to the CAF, as we call it here in Brit, with Kills yesterday, which had just about survived somehow. And he said, I really want to tip Belosa, but I think she won't get home with the run style. She can be a bit keen, can't she? Richard Kingscote seems great on effect on her last time. But the sire, Atward, we saw him have a winner yesterday on deep ground. That would give you hope that she's going to go on the ground. But what will you be hoping for? Something of an easy?
Irish Guineas winner, Atwad. Yeah, trained by Kevin Pendergast. I just thought, I don't think she has to lead. She's only had 2 runs. I mean, she can be a bit free, but I think there's going to be plenty of pace on here. She's drawn 4. And I think they'll come up the middle, and I think there'll be plenty of pace for her to aim at. So if they can get her settled in the first couple and maybe take it from there, she'll be doing good work at the finish.
I'll tell you what, if she wins this, we've got a right old sort on our hands here. So that's Belosa for Barry Orr in the second race. Let's go down the field. Gee, this just made my head hurt a little bit, and I wanted to take a price here. I don't like any of the market leaders.
Okay. I think that Mutasar Beck might win it. Does that come among your market leaders that you don't like?
Yes, it does.
Why is that?
Well, I think that this is something of an experiment with him, probably. Charlie Hills isn't having a great week, is he?
I don't think it's an experiment. I'll tell you why I don't think it's an experiment. Because
Got a form on heavy ground, G, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's won on heavy ground.
This is classic form that you like to look for in this race, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
I'll go with that.
He's won on heavy ground.
Yeah.
In 2015, Charlie Hills won this race with Dutch Connection, who finished 7th in the 2,000 Guineas.
It's an identical prep then.
So Mutasar Beck finished 7th in the 2,000 Guineas, absolutely identical. So I'm fairly certain that Charlie Hills, as soon as he finished in the Guineas, would have gone right. He's slightly below top grade, but you know, we've seen us take off the jersey with similar type in the past. We'll go straight for the jersey. So I think that Group 1 form is absolutely key in this race. You absolutely really need to be a Group 2 stroke Group 1 horse to win what is a Group 3 in only name. I mean, it's a much better race than that usually every year. 7 of the last 10 winners actually came into it having run in a Group 1 on their previous start.
I'm somewhat surprised he's not outright favourite, to be honest, because he wasn't disgraced by Poetic Flair, was he? And still won with that.
I think that the best form in the race is the 2,000 guineas form. Poetic Flair obviously won the St James's Palace and was beaten shorted in the Irish Guineas subsequently. Yeah. Lucky Vega was third in the English Guineas, was second in the St James's Palace. It's obviously a proper Group 1 race. This isn't a Group 1. And I suppose the big question is, why can he beat Naval Crown, who finished ahead of him in the Guineas, finished fourth in the Guineas? But I just felt going into that race that Mutasarbeck was sort of more, he was less experienced, you know what I mean? He only had 2 runs, whereas...
So you watched it back a couple of times and that was when he came out on.
Yeah, Naval Crown was very exposed. He had a lot of runs. He was a hard and tough performer from Dubai. That
was his 4th run of the season.
Yeah, you know, so he went into that. He was ready for that big field race. I'm not sure that Mutasarbeck was ready. I think he'd come on for the experience.
Jim thought he'd run a big race in the Guineas. And, Crowley, and he did think he'd come on a lot from that and learn a lot from that. So I'd say he'd be hoping for a big run.
The other one would be Legion of Honour, who also was in the Guineas, finished 9th behind Mutasarbeck and Naval Crown. Now, there's no obvious reason why he should beat them both, but then again, there's no obvious reason why he should be, 40 to 1?
They really like this horse down at Rog Varian's yard, and he's had a very frustrating week so far, in total contrast to 2020 when he had 4 winners.
This is going to be his day, Dave.
He's keen, this bloke. This is his problem. And he gets a proper pace to run out this time. He nearly blew his brains behind Magellan. Do you remember at Newcastle? Magellan, since come out, we've been mentioned on the show already, 2nd in the Dante. It's that level. He's definitely better than 104. He's definitely better than 104. Okay, we've got another social app. I did hear, I thought I could hear something. You could probably see that it was Dan Walsh in the gallery, and he said, Frizzy Red comes back on. Very timely again. But they love this in the gallery, the boys. When it's timely, they absolutely love it. Belosa each way and Legion of Honour pulled clear with Magellan at Newcastle. It's like we all knew. We didn't. This was improvisation. I think that's smart form and could run well. You're totally echoing that one.
Yeah, like I said in the last race, I don't mind backing 2 unless I'm backing an odds-on favourite in one other like you do. But I backed Mutasarbeck and I've backed Legion of Honour each way. A massive price. I don't understand the price on Legion of Honour. It just stands out like a sore thumb to me. If Mutasarbeck and Naval Crown are right at the top of the market, having finished 4th and 7th in the Guineas, then how can the horse that finished only a few places behind them be like 4 or 5 times that price?
Probably because he hasn't won this year. He's sort of won. He's won a Newcastle novice and he was beaten on his debut. He doesn't have, unlike a lot of Rog horses, he doesn't have that sexy sort of profile. Does he? Very uptick, sort of coming into Royal Ascot. You know,
a lot of Rog horses have sexy profiles.
They do. They really do.
He likes a sexy profile.
He's had loads of places, hasn't he, and things like that. But he just hasn't got that one over the line yet. Look, he's a horse that I do think is actually pretty decent.
There's a lot of pretty decent horses in this race.
Well, there probably are, but it's just a bit of a head scratcher, isn't it? Batch, help us out. Not often something I say.
You're looking at the wrong person for me today.
Which one did you like, though?
I liked Creative Force. Just as a 3-year-old, he's done nothing wrong. He did flop last year at Ascot in the Coventry, but got form on soft ground. He's not going to experience heavy ground. But I do like one at a big price, Fad Treen, Charlie Fellows. Ran all right. I think didn't get the trip home in the Guineas. I think they stepped back in trip, a lot of speed. I think they could run well at a big price, Bad Dream.
Our Dream, yes.
Our
of course.
Dream.
In the 1,000 Guineas, Charlie Fellows had Dubious Affair go very close first time out, didn't he? And Onassis wasn't disgraced at all in the Duke of Cambridge as well. So, yeah, okay, very interesting. So you've got a shorter... so Creative Force, let's talk about him before I give my tip. Mattie's selection is Creative Force. I don't think anyone running this week has had their form better advertised. And in fact, in a lot of the races that we cover on this show, than Creative Force. First time out in Newmarket, beat significantly. Significantly took out the 3-year-old sprint when we went off air yesterday. When at Newmarket, he saw off Perotto, who took the Britannia. And when he won at Newbury last time,
Spycatcher.
Or I would wager might be not far off the ground that he's going to get here now it's drying. Beat Spycatcher and Tactical as well, who both reoppose. The only problem is, if you like, everyone's saying, well, hang on a minute, why is he 6-1? This was not the original plan. And the reason why he can't run in the Commonwealth Cup, he's never been past 6 furlongs, is that he's a gelding. And so they've almost had to go here. And was it James Doyle? It was James Doyle straight afterwards. I remember we got the comments in. And he said, I'm not totally sure we want to be going over 7 at Royal Ascot, maybe keep him to 6. And then, of course, that was when the hoo-ha about the geldings couldn't run. You know, we've got Rohan running in the Wokingham, haven't we? That beat Dragon Symbol, couldn't run in the Commonwealth Cup.
This could have run in the Wokingham, couldn't he?
This could have run in the Wokingham, yeah, 110.
Like Rohan's off 112.
There you go. So this could have gone there. Is it? So I guess they're shooting quite high with him, aren't they? So he is bred to stay, Barry. He's out of a dam that went up to a mile 2. He's out of a Debawi, or he's a Debawi out of a. But the dam sire is Choser, the sprinter. But she did stretch out herself, so I don't know. She's thrown up Persuasive as well, who's a miler, isn't he? I think was a Persuasive a miler, a decent miler at that. So look, it's there, but I think they thought this was a sprinter. I'm with Barry on this, and he's done extremely well. This horse, if you remember, that he was well fancied for the commentary. He blew out. I backed him. I put him on this show last year, and he just didn't. He totally blew out. So the Ascot thing might be a thing as well. But
Naval Crown,
yeah, just ahead of Muta Sarbeck, got that right, and 4th in the Guineas. He's just exposed, isn't he? Khartoum for a quick double for Ryan Moore and Aidan O'Brien. Handicap winner last time, but we know if they think he's good enough for this, then they've got the breeding, haven't they? The one I came down on, though, and I've got an absolute flyer here, is Nando Parado for a team that are having. We're talking about. I mean, okay, Barry, let's bring him in. We're talking about a Coventry winner here that chased home, of course, Campanelle on his next start. That was in the morning. They took him on Art Weekend, if you remember, for the Jean-Luc Lagardère, the Group 1 there, over 7. And he got bottomed down. It's fair to say he hasn't come back in the same form. And I'm not going to go, Graham's laughing, because we're going to have this, has he trained on? Well, look, there's a chance he might not have done. There is a chance he might not have done. It's always going to come back to bite me. This. If you were watching yesterday, me and Graeme were having a tete-a-tete about, I said it is Isabella Giles who hasn't trained on. And then all of a sudden I put one up. I mean, how do you know this is trained on? And actually, it was perfectly gorgeous, or a pretty gorgeous, sorry, who I thought ran all right, but I know you didn't. If Nando Parado could have his ideal conditions in a race, it's 7 furlongs with cut in the ground on a straight 7 at Ascot. I'm almost convinced of that. I did the analysis and the close-up comments for the Heron Stakes in the paper, which he was 4th in. He had to do all his own running. That wasn't ideal. And he got bogged down a little bit, and he actually didn't go down without a fight. He just didn't get the stiff mole. That form hasn't been that well advertised this week. But Mushtadaf, I think, and Highland Avenue will still be horses. Certainly going into the race, they are great profiles. Give him a chance. He's a whopping price. What price is the Coventry winner? He's not 150 to 1 again, Barry, is he?
No, he was 180 Betfair SP when he won last year at the Royal Meeting. But this time around, he's a more respectable 50.
Yeah, for a team that have had a frustrating week, I think we can say that supremacy had to be pulled out, and they've not had the power perhaps that they might have done. The 2-year-olds haven't really done it. You can see the spotlight verdict there, of course. They go for Creative Force, and Paul Ridgway comes onto the show. Welcome along, Paul. And says tactical to win for Her Majesty, 2nd in the first race, same as last year. Hoping Oshin stays straight onto the drive. Hang on, stays straight onto the drive to the line. Hang on a minute.
he's having a pop. Having a pop over.
He's having a pop at Frankie, is he?
Oh, I see. Of course, the Campanelle thing there first. So you don't want. I see. That's a bit harsh, isn't it? I'll tell you what. I'm glad though, Paul, that you've mentioned this. First of all, a word for tactical. Can he reverse the form with Creative Force over a rather royal meet? A winner, of course. He won the Windsor Forest, didn't he?
Yeah, he won here last year, didn't he? He beat Naval Crown, didn't he, in the pre-handicap?
Yep.
And Naval Crown went up to finish 4th in the Guineas, which I thought was good form, but he went off favourite off the back of that and then was disappointed, wasn't he, behind Creative Force. I don't think it's a complete forlorn hope, but he's not my idea of the winner.
He beat a horse called Yazaman, you remember, when he won the Windsor Forest. That was proper 2-year-old form, I think, wasn't it? But I think if it was slightly better ground, I might be thinking.
I think that might be the thing. A lot of his form is on better ground, isn't it?
If at Newbury last time, they definitely had. It was a deluge, I think, wasn't it? And we were expecting some funny sort of loose ground. He didn't look in love with it, I don't think. He was one of the last off the bridle though, and Oisin Murphy on the far side. Barry thinks there'll be pace on the far side. He's right next to his old rival. Oisin Murphy then staying straight on the drive to the line. I got it, Paul. Thank you. But that's a good
Bringing
point.
that back up yesterday, Dragon Symbol at Light Refrain finished behind him at Nottingham, I think, on
William Haggis and Tom Marquand in this.
on softest ground. So
that was in the Sandy Lane.
Yeah.
So this chap's another one standing, stepping back up. He has placed Light Refrain over that. Let's just concentrate on jockeys for a little bit, Barry, because if Frankie had have got over the line in the previous race, he would now be level pegging with Oisin Murphy. But Ryan Moore, don't discount him in that jockey title market.
Yeah, it's in running on the exchange, but it's very illiquid. Frankie's now 7-2, Ryan's 3-1, and it's 4s on Oisin Murphy. Been nearly 30 grand matched in it throughout the week so far, so it's still alive, but 4-1 on Oisin.
But barely. It's hanging on, sort of thing. I'm surprised about that. I had to say, I thought at the start of the week that would have caught more of your imaginations, captured it out there. I really thought it would have done. Maybe towards the back end. I think it's a really interesting race in itself, that. Who do you think is going to come out on top? Oisin?
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, he's got.
Well, he's leading, so that was the easy call, wasn't it? But you don't think Frankie can? Well, obviously you don't. You just said he don't. But I don't know. Interestingly, Aidan O'Brien was 3 off Gosden, wasn't it, at the start of the day? We've seen this before, haven't we? Where Aidan steams
All
through
of a
at
sudden
the
he
end
can
to
just
take
have
the
a
prize. It's one of the
good day,
moments
can't
of
he?
the week for that, for Ryan and Aidan, when they stand up there and get their titles at the end. I've been there in the winners' enclosure when they're doing it, and you can tell they're really proud, and it's a massive moment for them. That
Even for Ryan.
even for Ryan, beaming smile.
Really?
I think Her Majesty's involved somewhere on the line in the presentation. Or there's someone from the HRH.
I think Ryan's one of these people. Once he's done it once, that's tick box. That's it.
I don't know about that, Batch. I think that this is. Let's face
You
it.
know him well, Batch, would you, from your time spent in the moors?
Yeah, used to babysit him, Barry. That's how old I am. Yeah,
Wow.
he was.
That explains everything, doesn't it?
Explains a lot. Yeah, taught him everything I knew, Barry.
Couldn't get a word in.
30 seconds.
Couldn't get a word in. Put him off for life.
Oh, he's one of those people he was always good at everything. He sort of took everything in his stride. I've said it once again. He didn't really, when he was young, Jamie was keen, wanted to be a jockey. That's what he wanted to do. You ask Ryan, what do you want to do when you leave school? Don't really know yet. Something that makes me a lot of money, he said. That was his exact words. Jamie would be in there at 5 o'clock with his nan, cleaning out the water buckets, taking the water buckets round the yard. Ryan would stroll in at second lot because he wanted to lie in. In the afternoons, they'd be there helping their nan feed. Ryan would only come in because his nan was always bringing sweets to the feed. He was never he never showed interest.
And yet he becomes the world's greatest jockey.
And he was so naturally good at everything. Riding, he was a good footballer, he was good at school. He could just take one of those people, frustrating, that could take to anything. And
Rather talented family, actually, aren't they?
yeah, very talented family, yeah.
Yeah, they are rather talented. That reminds me of Mr. Millman, who sat there yesterday. James Millman. You say to him, are you going to take over your dad? Nah. We're interested in being a jockey? Nah. Different trajectories, of course. Different trajectories along those lines, but yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Some of the top people in our sport actually went out to get that position.
That's it. And I remember riding out one morning, and Gary said to Ryan, he said, "Right, you're gonna have your first ride. That's like a dream come true, isn't it? You're having your first ride." He said, "You're gonna ride your mum's horse in an amateur race at
Wolverhampton?
Wolverhampton."
Yeah, I remember it.
He went, "I ain't going up there to ride that."
It's full of chat then, was
I
he?
ain't going to go to Wolverhampton to ride that. He's got no chance. Obviously, he rode a winner over jumps at Toaster. His first and only ride over jumps. Horse called Mersey Beat.
He 1 from 1 over jumps, is
Yeah, he rode it.
Wow.
Yeah, amateur race at Toaster.
1 from 1.
We all went up in the box. I drove the box. Walked around the track with him. Told him what to do. Good
Oh, okay.
advice. Yeah.
Babysitter.
It was an absolute steering job.
Don't fall off. Is that what you said?
Don't fall off, yeah, just hold on.
A babysitter, maybe that's what you'll be known as, the babysitter, Mattie Batch. There we go. So there you go. Great insight into world's greatest jockey. Can he pull it out of the bag? I think that's a market that's very interesting indeed, and will be flip-flopping.
He needs 2 winners because he's got 5 seconds on the board, Dave.
Perfectly doable, isn't it? I mean, if Khartoum, who is still relatively unexposed,
Well,
Khartoum,
Broom's going to be well fancied.
Broome will be well fancied. What else has Ryan got? Let's just have a little look. I'll have to open up my race cards here on the Racing Post website. What's he got then?
While you're doing that, Naval Crown being smashed up here into 6.4, which is 11-2, having traded just when we first came on air at 10.5. So 10-1 into 11-2, nearly half in price now. Naval Crown with William Buick.
Okay, so that's the buzzer for Will Buick, also title chasing, isn't he, this year? I think he's got a great chance of pushing Oisin. James Millman, as we were walking out of the studio yesterday, said with the treble that Oisin had yesterday, he said, that's it, that's wrapped up. Oisin does it, he'll just get on the crest of a wave now. He's got Khartoum in this Ryan Moore, Broome in the next. It doesn't sound like a bad book, surprisingly. He's got Dream of Dreams in the big one today at the Diamond Jubilee. King's Lynn for Hermanji jumps aboard that in the Wokingham. And then he's got Baton Rouge, which looks like a bit of an outside in the Golden Gate. And then the well-fancied Stratum for Willie Mullins in the Queen Alexandra.
What price
More
is he?
than doable. What price is he, Barry?
On the Betfair Exchange at the moment, you can back him at 3.6 now. 5.2.
That's not other people fancying it as well then. Very interesting indeed. Okay. Oh, Paul Ridgway. I'm being told that you're watching from Australia. Paul Ridgway, down under.
G'day, mate.
Great. Yeah, good day. Absolutely. Welcome along. Shame we can't come and join the party with you in November. Maybe have a word with the Victorian State, if you won't mind. We think we might have seen the Melbourne Cup winner, though, Paul. And if you're watching from all around the globe, let us know. I've had some great messages from people this week. South Africa, America as well. Now from Australia as well. A happy day. Whereabouts in Australia are you, Paul? Let us know. Great you're staying up to watch us. And actually, listen, let's face it, if you're in a foreign jurisdiction, sometimes you can't get on, can you? So this is a great way to watch the racing, and hopefully we're giving you all the right insight. This is a forensic show, if you like, a little bit, where we examine everything. No fashion segments here, just as well, probably, as well, I would imagine. But Paul, good to have you on from Australia. Lovely. So we are, we're over time, aren't we? In the Dewhurst, the Jersey, sorry. Yeah, I'm trying to wonder exactly why that is. It's soft now all over. Actually, at race time, shall I give you the time of the first? Dan Walsh in the gallery said it was 4.76 above standard, which is not too bad.
No, it's all right, isn't it? That is, of course, was on the straight track, wasn't it? So
Yeah,
maybe
which is always better than the round.
It will be better than it is on the round course, but yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, we've got just the one non-runner in this, none in the first, but it does pile up as we go towards the round course, which is where it's softer. Unfortunately, what looked like one of the best Dewhursts in recent times, on paper anyway, certainly most exciting, has cut up a little bit. Some of the big players still remain. Let us know your naps for the rest of the day. Get them indeed. Mark Bellew comes on. Welcome along, Mark. And he says, new mandate, open race, really? Well, it is a new mandate. Tom Segal and Paul Keeley, both like this. Keels thought very interesting jockey booking for Rafe Beckett. Any love for new mandate, Barry? He beat one ruler when we covered this show at the St Leger meeting.
That's right, Jay. He's 22, Dave. New mandate at the moment. He was 20 earlier on this morning, so just a little slide on him. Nothing really knocking around from. Your favourites now, Naval Crown, has usurped Creative Force at the head of the market, 6.6. Creative Force is currently 7.4. 8 Mustabek. Khartoum's out to 13, Storm Damage 12. Some money for Belliosa. She was in as short as 11. She's drifted out to 14.5 now. We backed her at 18, so she's come in 4 ticks.
Thanks, Barry. I was quite impressed with Storm Damage. Did you see that, G, when it won at Kempton? I didn't bat the second. It was short, but I thought it was a race that it had to win. I was called Thala for Sir Michael Stouts. And this was drawn all the way wide. Oisin Murphy rode it. It sprinted clear.
Yeah, I did see it. It was quite impressive, wasn't it? There's a few things that caught my eye about Storm Damage. Obviously, Saib Bin Saror pitching the horse straight into this race off of the back of that race. You must think that it's fairly good to be
Rather
doing
than
that.
a novice, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, he could have taken a much slower build-up, but yet he's gone there. Then the Dam, I used to love the Dam, Sundrop. She was a very useful filly.
The Mohammed colours, in Shape Mo colours, wasn't she?
Oh, I don't remember. I thought she was good.
She was in the Sundrop. She was. She's a Sunday Silence.
Yeah, she was very good. I remember her winning at Epsom one day. I think she might have finished second in the 1,000 guineas or something along those lines.
She went to Godolphin in the end. She started in the Shape Mo colours.
And she loved fast ground though, Dave.
She was second too in 2004. Good memory up there under that grey matter up there. Attraction.
She was second to Attraction, yeah.
That's
right.
Great shout, Graeme.
Yeah, in the 1,000. 2004 was it, Dave?
Yeah, 2004, the glory days.
Yeah, so she was very good, Sundrop, her dam, and the only thing is she loved fast ground, firm ground. All her best forms on firm ground, Sundrop.
He is by Night of Thunder, though,
Yeah.
who's got a good soft ground, so we'll find out, won't we?
It's a bit of a guessing game, but again, Andrea at Zeni for Said Bin Saror.
Off the mark with Juan Elcano. Again, that seems a long time ago, doesn't it?
Not a jockey booking you see too often.
No, absolutely
Zeni
not.
for Bin Saror. So there's
Top man, Andrea, isn't he?
there's a few things, aren't there?
Good lad.
Yeah, top man. Yeah, he'd be in my top 5 jockeys. I think.
All day long, yeah.
All day long. Really.
Yeah, I like him. Yeah.
Is that a unanimous panel
Yeah.
for Andrea?
Yeah.
Mazzini? It is interesting that they go for this because a lot of these horses that win during the summer, on a belated debut, I would call it, as a 3-year-old, they've often got one thing in mind for them, and that's a trip over to Meydan. So they could have gone for another novice and got his mark, and then gone for something valuable over there. So yeah, very good point made by Graeme.
There's a lot of good jockeys out there now, Dave. It's just getting on the right horses. You could list the top 5, but then if you went lower down the list and you gave the horses that the top boys are riding, they'd easily make it in there, So
I don't want to say that Kirby isn't a top 5 rider, but that was a great case in point, I suppose, in the Derby, wasn't it?
Yeah.
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 Give them the horse and they'll do the job.
Of course it is, yeah. Give them the ammunition and
The standard of riding, you're saying, Batches,
it's a lot, yeah.
Very high.
Yeah,
All right,
very
we're
high.
finally in then for the jersey, and away we go. Good luck. Khartoum on the near side. Ryan Moore being held up at this point. Where's the pace? It looks like it's going to be down the middle. Nando Parado just taking a lead from the keen Storm Damage, Andrea Razzini, we've just been mentioning. Near side, however, we have finally a group again coming down the near side. Our commentators nightmare.
Going quick, Dave.
Memetto, they are going fast, aren't they, G?
Yeah, fast paced. The one in the middle, the Sundrop colt, is absolutely winging along, isn't it? And the Naval Crown is nicely settled on this stand side rail, I think, don't you?
Yeah, Legion of Honour, the other one you gave a shout to at price, G. That means
Are they going too fast here, Dave? I think
I think Adam
could be a
Kirby
collapse
and Nando
here.
Parado thinks Andrea Razzini has gone off like a bit of a loon here. Let's go to Barry Orr with, around about 3 furlongs to run, Barry.
Storm Damage 11. Naval Crown, your favourite at 2-1 now. 9-4. 9-2. Creative Force.
Okay, all right. Is it
They're surely going to stop in front here, Dave. Something's
Got to.
cruising. Is that Dream? Dream's going very well.
Oh, this is Batch's shout. VA Dream. VAR Dream then. Let's see where we go. Filling the lungs then. Nando Parado. All right, fair enough. He definitely hasn't trained
Spycatcher.
on. Okay, Spycatcher on the far side. This was second to Creative Force. Creative Force
Creative
now
Force,
digging
your
deep.
favourite.
Near side, I tell you what, Creative Force is coming all the way over. But this is
Crown.
going to be Naval Crown on the far side. VA Dream, will it get there at all? What are we going on the exchanges? They don't quite know. Creative Force in the centre. VAR Dream
Force.
for Batch. Creative Force is going to do this. What a special little horse he is. Absolutely superb. And James Doyle, he's been hitting the crossbar all week, stands up in the eyes. Go on, Doyler, give it a celebration. What a special little horse this is. If it hadn't been for his run in the commentary last year when something clearly wasn't right, because we didn't see him afterwards, he'd be 1-1-1-1-1. What a nice horse, Barry. And it looked like Naval Crown had it on the near side.
Yeah, he traded at a low in running, Dave, on the Betfair Exchange of 1.33, so 3-1 on. But your winner, Creative Force, a high of 9.8. He's a Betfair SP of 7.20. That 9.8 was pre-race. I don't think that was during the race. There was no big in-running news outside of that, really.
Well, okay. I mean,
Let me just recap. Is that a winner for Batch and a 25-1, a 28-1 third?
well, I'm pretty sure that you put the 28-1 on top, Batch, if we went back through it. But you did put up Creative Force, didn't you?
Yes.
The babysitter is
That's
off
it.
the
I'm
mark.
out. I'm out.
Really.
See ya.
Going, that's it.
That's it. Drop the mic.
Gotta babysit Ryan's kids, yeah. Absolutely fantastic. Well done, Batch. Okay, great stuff then. So 2 races down, 2 winners we've given you, and a 28-1 third as well. Quite right. First and a third, like I had in the first as well. Mr. Rodway, you might want to pull your socks up again slightly. Musa, let's just talk about your.
I'd like to see the head on again. I'd like to see the head on
Yes.
because I think the winner drifted over under pressure to the left-hand side. He straightened him up then, and he ran straight as a gun barrel, but he did seem to lose a bit of ground by drifting over to the stand side.
There's the Trackus argument again. Now, in that race, it would be interesting, right?
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
It was before the line.
Yeah, it was before the line, and he's done it well though. So he's miles ahead of the group in the middle, isn't he? All the ones have come up the stand side have finished second, third, fourth. And he's miles ahead of the ones in the middle, and he looks a class apart. Like you say, Dave, he would be unbeaten, wouldn't he? But for that one. So how good could he be? Is he a Group 1 horse, Dave?
He definitely is a Group 1
Looks like it.
He is. He's not big.
Here he goes. He's going massively off
tiny,
to his left.
But that didn't stop Stradivarius, did it? And I remember when he ran on his return at Newmarket, he said he's not grown Charlie Appleby as trainer, but he's got some little engine, and I don't think they thought he was going to climb this high. I really don't. And now we know why they've not gone for the Wokingham. It was the breeding suggested he ought to be fine over it, but there was a reason why they hadn't tried it, and it was slow ground. And Batch, when you're watching this from the gates, he's not in the right place. And James Doyle has a think about bringing him over to the stablemate, doesn't he? Naval Crown on the near side, and then so he has lost ground there. You've got to mark him up.
Yeah, he's especially when he's drifted as well. He's lost. He looked beat, and then he sort of straightened up. I mean, the winning distance don't do him any justice. I think if he would have stayed straight, he'd have won a lot easier, don't you think?
Yeah, he's miles on top, isn't he? Just a word for the second Naval Crown. It keeps running Stormers.
Yeah.
And that was a brilliant run.
Has he been helped by running on the rail?
Maybe, but he set a good pace, didn't he?
Not easy to do. He did. You said Batch are going quick.
They were going for the ground as well. I thought they'd gone quick enough. So
Nando Prado, okay, he hasn't trained on. I've managed to jump onto one of them. I'm off now. The commentary went.
What do you think about the Lennox Stakes for Naval Crown?
That's a great shout.
Absolutely ideal,
shout.
couldn't it? If he got an inside draw around Goodwood, speed him round that bend, I think it'd be really hard to catch.
And what is the 7 furlong race that we always talk about as being a target for? The foray, isn't it? On Arc Weekend, you've got to wait so long for the foray, but it's the 7 furlong Group 1 race that's available to them. Would this chap get a mile? That's what I'm now thinking to myself. I'm really excited about this bloke because I think he's done. I
think he'll get a mile.
Well.
He'll definitely get a mile, I think.
Yeah.
The Dan won over a mile too,
Yeah.
and she has already thrown up Persuasion. Like I said, he was a minor for Charlie Hills, I think, and Paul Roy.
Almost worked out for Spencer, didn't it? On Vardream, he was sitting
He must
there
have loved that pace scenario. He must have gone, I'm in, finally,
Yeah.
Spence would have done. Yeah, and he looked for a long way. You called it G. You said he's absolutely on the ball. Is it she? It's
Yeah,
she, isn't it?
she just wasn't quite good enough to get to the front two. She didn't have the class, but he's probably ridden the absolute ideal race.
She's just not quite totally seeing out of races at the minute. She's by Brazen Bow, who was, as you remember, just got beaten for Chris Waller in the Diamond Jubilee at this meeting a few years back. She's very interesting. I'll tell you also, who else has run well? And he's only some week, isn't he? Richard Fahey. PJ McDonald. Glad to see PJ McDonald with a sniff at this. I was seeing him riding all the smaller meetings and thought his stock's gone down a bit. So Richard Fahey giving him another chance. Rhythm Master.
Gets a quote for the July Cup. 8-1 from 14-1 Creative Force.
Very interesting, Barry. Very interesting.
Is that over a mile, is it?
That's 6 furlongs.
6 furlongs.
Yeah,
Not
6
bad.
furlongs. Of course, we've seen Dragon Symbol, we've seen Oxted, we've seen Campanelle. That has been well advertised. And talking about well advertised, one horse every summer, G, that we see, when you just click on the races, you're like, hang on a minute, he's beaten that, he's beaten that. He's now beaten significantly Perotto, Spycatcher, who ran pretty well in that race. Everything that's basically run against Creative Force is winning.
Yeah. His form is ties up
You
well.
called that
doesn't it?
beforehand.
We did, and it doesn't always work out, Barry, does it? But you remember when See the Stars went through that unbeaten year as a 3-year-old? Anything that was sixth to him in a Group 1 would come out and win Group 3s. And it was just unbelievable year.
Yeah, you get that when the form just works out with good horses, don't you? Like significantly, obviously, Jumbie didn't advertise the form. He was third in that race that day, behind significantly. He ran a stink the other day, didn't he?
But he has been running well this season, hasn't he? You know, he took out that decent handicap, didn't he? And other horses elsewhere go through Creative Force's form is what we're trying to say here. It's sizzling.
It can, when you're looking at races that work out and races that don't work out, I mean, it can sometimes be the horses that don't always smack you as the obvious ones to take out of the race that end up being the ones worth taking out of the race. The race that caught my eye was the London Gold Cup, for example. That race always is very strong at Newbury. Bay Bridge won it this year, and he beat King Frankel in second.
Week, wouldn't it?
Would have been good to see him, but in that race they went a real strong pace early, and the leaders won well. You know, the winner won well, and the second were clear of the rest. But actually, the ones that have come out and run well since are the ones that helped set that pace, the ones that really put the pace to that race, because then they weren't able to show their true ability in that race because they went off too quickly.
Not the obvious eye catcher from behind, basically.
Exactly,
yes,
not the one that was flying home from behind or the obvious ones.
Horses that can never win setting a certain pace scenario, they're still good horses, basically.
Yeah, because that time maybe in that London Gold Cup, I think that race was running a time 5 seconds faster than the fillies listed race on the same card. 5 seconds faster than the listed race. So suggesting it was kind of like a Group 2 time.
Well, he looked a group horse, didn't he, Baybridge, when he did it? Obviously, we're not seeing him, but the second he does run in our last race.
He did get the ideal pace set up, Baybridge. I'm not saying he was flattered, but what I am saying is that the ones who finished behind, who set that pace, they are the ones to look out for.
King Frankel, one of them. I can't remember what he did in London Gold Cup, but he's the favourite for our final race.
There was a horse called Dahame Paso, which won last week at Sandown, that came out that had finished 6th in that London Gold Cup, and that horse did a lot of the donkey work. And again, I'll be looking out for those horses from that London Gold Cup that did the early donkey work, because they're the ones to take from that race.
It's a bit like the Chesham, the first race, the slow pace, and the horses that were dropped in.
Yeah, you've got to mark them up.
You've got to mark them up, because they're being races sooner or later that will run to suit them, suit their style of running, and you'll see different outcomes.
Yeah, there's just so many different ways to look at races. It's not always the obvious way of saying, right, you've got to take the winner out this race, then the second, then the third, because there are other narratives as to why they've finished in those places.
It doesn't always work out, because certain horses need certain conditions, don't they? They don't always get it. Might be a deluge for the race. So it does not, but some years, sometimes you get a form race and it just keeps working out. And Creative Force, I think I asked you at the top of the show, viewers out there, to give me, perhaps in order, your top performances of the week. Doesn't have to be by class, whatever what was your big winner? I don't know, something like that. Did you see something that you think next time or something like that? But what's the special moment? Was it subjective? Is it still the Gold Cup, the race of the meeting? Let us know. We've got plenty of time in between races to build a narrative of that. And Creative Force has just jumped into my top 5, I think, without question. I love these horses that just keep trying, and you don't know how good he is yet. I think he is a Group 1 horse, G.
Yeah, I think we'll see him in a Group 1. A lot of the horses that win Jersey Stakes usually do end up in Group 1. Some
Best of them in the last 10 years?
I was doing...
One sticks out, actually, to me.
Funnily enough, I was doing the last 10 years of this on the analysis, but I've done so many of that.
Celebrating last night, was it, G? Yes.
And so many of those this week, it's gone.
It was Ribchester, Barry, quite right. He does stick out a bit, Barry, doesn't he?
Oh, he does for sure, yeah. But didn't they sent him to stud, and he was subfertile, and he came back, and I think he's back in stud now, is he?
He is, and he's starting to get a better book of mares, I think, for Godolphin and Shadwell. He has had some quite interesting horses coming out. So anyway, that was the Jersey Stakes, and it's going quite well for the panel so far, isn't it? It's now one of the races of the day. It's the Hardwicke Stakes, a race, Barry, that can cut up often, and we see a hot pot in it. Whereas on Thursday, when the decks for this came out, you didn't know where to look. And I mean, we've had non-runners, but it's still a classy affair, isn't it? It should be exciting, this.
Yeah, it should be a cracker. 5 non-runners worth noting. Bangkok Logician, Mogul, Pablo Escobar and Tiger Mott all out. So that leaves us with a field of 10. It's 11-4 to field, 3.80 Broom on the Betfair Exchange. Illarab 5.9, 6-4 Wonderful Tonight, 9-2 Albert Flora, 10 Hookham, Japan 12, and it's 19 bar. Some Ron Peasley, not without a chance, 19 bar. G-Rod, please, I'm going to back Albert Flora with James Doyle in the play, course and distance winner just 2 runs ago. I thought she was really impressive that day. We were on the show, Dave. We were covering Ascot that day, and I took her on, but her second to Berkshire Rocco as well over a mile 6 last October, when she was only beaten ahead, is a good run. So she wants a real test, and that's what she's going to get today. She won the Buckhound. That was the Buckhound. She won that 7 lengths and marked her out as a really nice filly. That was on her first run back off the back of a break. She went to the Coronation Cup then in Epsom, and I think the ground was drying out and she didn't get knocked around when her chance had gone. So I'm going to forgive her that run. She gets her £3 allowance as well. We're just going to really straightforward here again, please, G-Rod. We're going to be back in the win and place market. So we'll have 25 quid in the win market, but we're going to set our own odds this time. She's 8.2, but we're going to look to back her at 8.4. So that'll go over into the pink box for someone to come in and lay, because we're making our own odds. We're creating them here. So 25 quid at 8.4. And then we're going to go into the place market. And there's 3 different place markets here. Obviously, you have your standard place terms. You have 2 places, 4 places, and 5 places. So indeed, you have 4 place markets here. And we're going to look at the 4 places and see what price she is there. She's just the shade of odds on. We're going to, again, set our own odds here in this place market. We're going to look to have 25 quid on at 2.12. So that will go up there in the pink box, and we want someone to come in and lay us at 2.12, that 25 quid. So we've about 15 minutes before off time, so we can check back in on those bets before the off.
Thank you, Barry. Oh, there's the trade for charity then from Betfair's big hitter himself. You've got plenty of time for that. Alba Flora, Paul Keeley and Tom Segal, the top tipsters from the Racing Post, they both like that as well. Before we get the panel specs, a reminder that Spotlights are going for a hat trick. They're 2 from 2 already. They found, I mean, listen, the markets, you know, the bookies will be starting to sense a right horrible day if they keep going in here. But Hookham, that is the pick for the hat trick they're going for. There should be more to come from Hookham, they say, and he gets the vote over Ilarab and Highest Ground, the 3rd choice. Okay, come to you, G, because how do we pronounce? I mean, pronunciation is a buzzword of 2021. Thady, Thaddy, that sort of thing, horses' names. What did you call it? Hookham, you called it. I call it Hookham. Hookham. Chipotle was the other one, wasn't it?
Chipotle. Hookham.
Tomato, tomato, yeah.
Yeah, I think he'll win this one, Dave.
Just call him winner.
Yeah, just call him. My best bets come from here, so hopefully I can, join you lot on the score sheet, because you're already kicked off. Obviously, with your odds on winner in the first.
He's learning, isn't he, Barry? He's getting this. I tell you what, he's after the seat.
And I just thought this race was made for Hookham, because obviously he won here last year, didn't he? Over the course and distance, very, very impressive. Then he went on to win at Newbury. I don't think he quite got home. Maybe things didn't go his way in the St Ledger, and shaped very well first time out Sandown.
Yeah.
Over in the undercut trip, 1 mile 2, wouldn't have been his bag. Probably ground quicker than ideal, and then back to form last time out at Goodwood when he won on soft ground. The only thing I would say is that I don't think he wants it like really, really heavy. Like, he won on soft ground at Goodwood last time, and he won here with ease in the ground last year. But I didn't think he looked entirely in love with a testing surface at Goodwood. And if it, and if it's riding like it is on the round course, like it is on the straight course, because it looks all right in the straight course, then I think he'll be all right. But
he cruised, didn't he, and then sort of slopped through it a bit.
Yeah, he's a good travelling horse, and we'll see. But
it was 5 to 6 on to do that, and he didn't run up to his mark in winning it.
I think it'd be absolutely fine if it was good to soft, but he doesn't want heavy, and it is 5.7 the going stick. Did we say?
It was 5.7. That's dried since this morning, obviously. So you'd be 6 at the very best.
I think that is possibly why he's a bit of a drifter. He's a bit easy in the markets. He's 10.5 on the exchange now. I think that's probably the biggest price he has been since the declarations came in. Hookham 10.5. So I think that might be the reason for the weakness. I've had a saver on Broome. You like him, don't you, Dave?
I do. Yeah, I do like Broome. But this, I'll explain my methodology after Batch has given this. But I think Broome is definitely the right favourite.
Yeah, he's got probably the strongest form, would you say? Yeah. He was wildly impressive, but it wasn't last time out, was it? It was 2 runs ago at the Curragh, was it? When he bolted up.
Yes, all right. I'll tell you what. I'll jump ahead of Batch then, if you don't mind, guys, in the gallery, and I will put Broome up. I was asked to tip in this on Thursday and on Friday, and I thought Sir Ron Priestley was the one to be with. That was before the rain really fell, though. And while I think Sir Ron Priestley has got the best recent form in this, his beating of Pile Driver at Newbury 2 back, really means he ought to be a single figure price here. He hasn't been tested on this sort of ground, Sir Ron Priestley, for Mark Johnson, of course, Gold Cup winning trainer this week. He's got the draw, he'll be up there. He didn't stay, as strong as Santiago and Spanish Mission, who didn't harm that form in the Lonsdale Cup at York last time, and it came quite quickly for him. He's been freshened up, loads to like about Sir Ron Priestley, and I am with him. But when overnight, I thought Broome was going to start around about 5 to 2, which is what it is rapidly going into. He was around about 9 to 2 last night, and I thought that is silly because they were coming for Wonderful tonight, the ground. Alba Flora, Hookham had a bit of money. Ilarab started coming in. Obviously, with the non-runners now, if you're just approaching the race, you're going, well, he's 5 to 2 now, Dave. Now the non-runners have come out. He was always going to come in a little bit, but I had a bet in the 9-2. That was a silly price. If you go back to his run in the Tats Gold Cup, which Dave Jennings, our Irish Supreme, told me yesterday was a weak edition of the race, and Hardwicke Dream, who'd been well beaten by him last time, reversed that form. He got racing off the home turn there, off a mile 2 Ryan Moore, and I was really impressed by the way that Broome stuck to his task. And I was really unlucky not to get the verdict. And all I thought to myself is the next time he goes up to a mile 4, I think he'll win again. He's back up to a mile 4 here, obviously. He goes on the ground. His half-brother has won the Chesham Stakes. Broome is one of these horses, Barry, correct me if I'm wrong, because he didn't do quite so well as a 3-year-old. He never was that popular. And then when he was winning, it was always odds on, wasn't it? Punters never really latched onto Broome.
No, and he's been a revelation this year now. He's won 3 out of 4. He only got beat a short head by Hardwicke Dream in the Patterson's Gold Cup in the Curragh last day. But yeah, you're right. I don't know what it is with the horse. He picked up some soft prizes now, I think, over here earlier on this season. And he's been crying out for a step back up to the 1.5 miles.
Yeah.
And they tried to really make it a true test of staying last day when Hardwicke Dream just got back up a short head to beat him. But that was a marvellous ride from Colin Keane that day, really. He wouldn't want it as soft as it is now. But like I say, he's been crying out for the trip and he's really going to need to stay. I think he's vulnerable at the price, if I'm being perfectly honest, Dave.
Yeah, at the price he is now, I agree. So, look, Sir Ron Priestley was my original value pick in this. But the ground, this is the beauty of this show. We can react to the elements that are out there, react to all the trends, exactly what's going on. A lot of the paper's set in stone, isn't it? That's basically what it is. I spoke to Paul Keeley yesterday, as I keep mentioning, but I spoke to Paul Keeley about Illarad. He was really keen on putting Illarad up in this, and I reminded him that we had Mr. William Aggis on a feature show that we did, and he said he's definitely better going left-handed. He has won right-handed at Beverley, but they thought that he wasn't quite at home on the track that day. Illarad is a fascinating horse, isn't he? 1-1-1-1-1. How good is he? Is he the creative force in the race here? I'd sort of love to see him have a big say in this, but at the prices, I think he's too short. He's still got this is a big step up for him. Batch, where did you think the Hardwicke would go?
I'd like to see Huck and win for OJ, Owen Burrows, known him for a few years, well, a lot of years, so over that run well.
OJ, is it?
Yeah, OJ,
okay,
yeah.
Right.
I'm going to go with Eric Clapton, though. Wonderful tonight. Good form, good course form, course and distance winner.
Did you have that playing when
I
you
get
were
it, Mattie.
babysitting
I
Ryan?
get it. They don't.
No,
Mattie,
of course I get it. I get it. Well, I think we've been having it all week, is what I'm like.
Thank you, Barry. Thank you, Barry.
Massive Clapton fans. Don't you worry about that. I get it. I bet. Yes, all right.
Yeah, Group 1 winner in France.
Yeah.
On heavy ground. Are we totally we're not even spoke about Japan. Are we just saying he's gone or?
Well, we had a chat with the boys in the gallery in the office when we came in.
He'd have
Didn't
to
we?
be respected, would he?
He said, Dan Wall said, "Is Japan just gone?"
Japan, Barry, gone or?
It was too bad to be true behind Pile Driver, wasn't it? In Epsom, he's just a horse. He lacks consistency.
Yeah,
he certainly does. I mean, he's an up and down horse, isn't he? Neil Francis comes back onto the show. Been with us all week, Neil. Welcome to this Super Saturday here on Racing Post Live. And you say, fully wound up, then wonderful tonight, should go very close. Big friend of the Racing Post, David Menusier, one of the top guys out there. Burgeoning operation, dual Group 1 running trainer.
gone from strength to strength. He had.
Love this filly, don't you, G?
Yeah, I don't think this is a lack for fitness. I think that it'll definitely be fully wound up.
Yeah.
Whether she's good enough is the question, of course.
Oh, she's good enough, G.
She's wonderful.
She is wonderful tonight.
Fillies Group 1s, as opposed to Group 1s, are different, aren't they?
Yeah, we interviewed David on the feature show the morning before she came to Champions Day, where she's going to get ground very similar to. She needs cutting the ground, obviously. She just arrived after winning a Mile 6 Group 1, hadn't she, at Longchamp, and she took out the filly and mares, and we were all so happy for him because it was, he had said if she turns up in the form that she, and that's what I like about David, he just tells it as it is, and he said to us on the feature show, I've just seen her doing her first a lumber up, lads. If this turns up in the form it is, the rest of them ain't got a chance. And it's just borne out, and it was a wonderful story. She's a lovely, lovely filly. First time out in this, it's a proper ass. But there was plenty of money for her, Barry, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was bombs of money for her, but like it is a big ask for a filly first time up this season. I don't think she's going to be fully wound up for this either. There's bigger prizes ahead. But she gets her ground and she gets a track that she's performed well on before. She's 6.8 now, Dave. One stage, she was as big as 10, yeah, but market's all over the place here with the non-runners as well. Hookham was a 9-2 chance at one stage. Highest Ground is a horse we haven't mentioned that I had a lot of time for. Obviously in a truncated season last year, finished second in a Dante, and he seems to have had a couple of little niggling hold-ups, but it was a good run back last time, and Graeme could be gone for him though as well, is the concern there. He's out to 25 on the exchange now, but yeah, I thought he was one that was worth talking about.
It's a ridiculously big price, isn't it, on what they think of him at Sir Michael Stoute. Winning most trainer at Royal Ascot of all time, Stouty. Oisin Murphy on. Ryan Moore loves this horse. I thought that as a 3-year-old, this would be the one that would get Stout back to the classics, you know, that sort of level. And he has had his problems, I think. And the comeback at Leicester last time, he showed his class, didn't he? And that was definitely a prep for this. But it was only 12 days ago. Horse has had a few problems, and Stouty's won 5 of the last 10 of these, you know. Yeah, obviously Crystal Ocean.
Yeah, with some good horses, yeah.
Yeah, proper horses. This chap has still got some way to go, but they believed. And listen, when they do that down there at Freemason Lodge, you are probably talented enough. But let's have a look at who's won it. Well, Crystal Ocean won when it was like a road in 2018. Dartmouth for Her Majesty. Snow Sky, Telescope, do you remember when he landed that gamble? And See the Moon as well. Sea Moon, sorry, as well. Some really good horses. Yeah, it was, yeah. He
did win it with Harbinger as well.
Was it this?
Years
He
ago.
won this and then the King George Harbinger.
so, yeah.
I've got a feeling he might have done. Harbinger.
He was good, wasn't he?
Just Harbinger.
Long time ago now.
Most impressive King George won a Bar and Able, I think it's in recent memory, that's for sure. So yeah, you're right, Barry. Listen, I'll be cheering him, absolutely. Thunderous, any love for him, guys?
He's the horse that, but is he the horse that beat him highest?
He did in the Dante.
Round,
Yeah, he did. In that weird Dante that was run in August.
Yeah, a weird race as well, wasn't it? Because the highest ground looked like he had it won. Remember, he went past Thunderous, and then Thunderous re-rallied and got him back near the line. You always feel like the best horse maybe finished second there.
I think a lot of people jumped off highest ground there, G, didn't they? He's had 3 runs this year at Sandown. He looked like he completely lost the plot, Thunderous. But then he came back behind Sir Ron Priestley at Newmarket in that good race. And then Al Arzi last time, he chased him home. We did
Blinkers
a lot
on
of
today, Dave.
Blinkers on, which is quite interesting, really, for a horse that, you know, proved more resolute than highest ground. Interesting goal, stall 14 for a horse with his run style. Richard Kingscote's going to have his work cut out. And the last one to mention then is Deja, who finished second in the handicap at the meeting last year, got his ground, 100-1 for Peter Chapel High, and 108. I mean, it does seem like a bit overpriced, doesn't he, Deja?
Appears to have no chance, but remember the last time that someone emailed in an 80 or 100-1 shot, I said had no chance.
What happened?
It almost won, didn't it? I can't remember what it was
did.
called, but
I think this one has no chance. It's 26 lengths to find with Albafora.
It was very disappointing that day. It was actually anti-post favourite for that race, though, Barry, the Buckhound Stakes.
And they gave the excuse to ground, wasn't it?
Yeah, but they then work that one out because they don't think he wants quick ground. So listen, we've covered the field, and I did say, if you were watching the show yesterday, after Graeme Rodway got his voodoo hoodoo off his back, the gorilla has left those shoulders. That we're going through the
gorilla
car
was
today.
King Kong, Dave. Come on.
Absolutely. Do you feel a bit lighter? Did you walk?
I did.
Walk out last night?
Yeah, felt good last night.
Ready, Brett Kidd. You know what I mean? Just walking.
The glow.
Felt very
Glow, exactly.
I said to Keels yesterday, I said I feel dangerously confident about tomorrow, Keels.
You did.
Now, yes, we haven't had a winner yet, but my best bets are still to come, Dave.
Your nappies in lightning striking twice in our last race, isn't it? Don't give it away. Don't give it away.
The last.
All right, the last race. You're going to listen.
Lucky last.
He knows he can Scarpa then, of course. The second race, the Jersey Stakes, quickening up on that. They did go fast, but they're quickening up on the straight course. This is interesting. Dan Walsh tells me slow by 3.36. So we're a second faster, basically, than the opening race there. So look, not so bad, is it, all of a sudden, on the straight course? If you were thinking, I'm going to have to find a mudlark in the Wokingham, it does drain pretty quickly in Berkshire, especially on that sand-based straight track. We're seeing Tom Marquand being interviewed at the moment with Ilarab. Which one's getting smashed up, Barry?
Broom's getting
smashed up. Yeah, it's into 9-4 now. It was 7-2 when we came on air. So makes a lot of money to do that in Royal Ascot. 1.2 million matched in the race so far, Dave, on the Betfair Exchange. And out of that 1.2 million, nearly 500,000 of it's on him. So just around 40% being bet on him. But he's really strong. Illarab 6, 7 wonderful tonight. Albaflora is 8, 9-8 Hookham, 12-5 Japan and 20 bar.
Are we surprised that Illarab is clear second favourite?
A little bit, but
He's never run anything but handicap.
it's hard to know how good unbeaten horses are until they get beaten. Do you find?
Especially William Haggis horses that begin.
Right.
This is exactly what a Dave did, isn't it?
Because really, I find you can never fully put a mark on a horse who's unbeaten, because when they're unbeaten, you don't know what they're keeping back, because they've never been, nothing's ever got them right into the
And
trenches.
this is a classic case, isn't it? He just keep finding this horse.
He might have a little bit more in the tank. He ran to 116 last time, but who knows? Had there been horse to push him further,
That
he
does
might have
put,
been
I mean, that's a
capable of-
monstrous performance in a handicap, that, isn't it? And,
116, I think.
it looked like a strong race, didn't it? I mean, it's not quite
Raymond
worked
Tuss
out.
was second
I don't know.
yesterday.
Raymond Tuss was second. I backed Torn Hall during the week, Dave. That disappointed.
Yeah, I backed that.
Out of that wine o'clock, disappointed out of that race.
Yeah, there were a couple of others as well. Sam
Yesterday-
Cooke was in it, wasn't it?
Sam Cooke was in it. He ran no race yesterday. Now he pulled his chance away early doors.
It
But
was-
I don't know how good a race that was. The Jorvik and York.
It's more that he gave him a lot of weight, and this is proper out of the Heath House playbook, isn't it? Because of course he used to work for Sir Mark Prescott, William Haggis, and this is 1-1-1-1-1. It's so hard to do, Batch, isn't it?
Very hard
To get these horses to keep defying the handicapper. So he's drawn in 10. They'll probably cover him up, I think. I would imagine from that. This is a horse that they think will get over a bit of ground as well. They were looking at Melbourne Cups before they basically made it nearly nigh on impossible for us to go down there. And then 111 in an E-ball. William thinks that's just... He wasn't throwing at that out of bed, actually, when I asked him about that, at the mark and the E-ball, because it's so valuable, that handicap.
It will be if he wins this.
They are obviously rolling the dice now.
Are we missing a trick not backing Ryan for the jockeys before this wins?
I'm telling you, I can see it. I can see it.
Come on, Barry.
I can see it. I can
Jerry
see
Bear.
5-2 now.
Price boost from the traders.
Price
please, Barry.
boost.
Okay, all right. So, listen, a reminder. We are nearly at the halfway stage today for you. The final stage of Royal Ascot. What a week it's been. Let us know your highlight. Let's get your favourite moments of the week. The guys in the gallery are going to build them up and we'll give you a great shout. We'll get all the panellists' views on what you're saying out there. We opened up with a really good one about the trackers and the 2 races on the straight course we've seen so far. Kinky Cadet was absolutely spot on. I think that was a really good one. Listen, you make the show. It's great to know you've been out there. The numbers have been superb this week. And let me tell you, everyone up there is very happy with this. We're not going anywhere. Every Saturday we'll be back with you. The next big festival, of course, will be glorious Goodwood. Let's hope the weather stays at least sunny throughout all of that. We'll be going to West Sussex for that. But in between that, we will be back with you plenty. Get them in. Now's the time, I am being told. All right. Okay. Like and subscribe, of course, if you are watching on YouTube. It's the Hardwicke coming up. We've had plenty of time to talk about it. And a reminder, Barry, on Albaflora.
They're off.
We're going through the card and they're off and running. Who's going to be the lucky recipient this time? Wonderful Tonight, full of herself. Taking an early lead from Thunderous in the first time blinkers. Keeping out wide. This was a trend we saw yesterday, wasn't it? They don't want that rail on the round course. So Ron Priestley is closest to it at the moment. How will Ron get through the ground? Hookham is in 4th place. Broom, lovely sit for Ryan Moore. Albaflora, as she was in the Coronation Cup. Faster pace scenario here. Still pulling a bit, just in midfield. Japan. What will Japan do? We'll be digging in the flag. We'll be finding out very shortly. He's out the back. Illarab, as expected, covered up as well. Highest ground, little bit keen out the back. And Dejard, a big outsider. Stiff task from there. Mattie, Batchelor on Priestley leads. How pace are they going?
They started off slow. They're just sort of picking it up a little bit now. That's why a few keen, I think, but they're levelling out a little bit now, Dave.
Wonderful tonight. It's very keen, Dave. Very keen, wonderful tonight. Absolutely delighted with the position of my selection, Hookham.
Hookham.
Yeah, Hookham.
It's Hookham.
Hookham's got himself into
It's
a
a
lovely...
you, not an O.
He's got himself lovely position. He's right just off the lead here. He's going to need a little bit of luck coming off that home bend. If he can find a run, he must go close. Broom settled just behind him with Albaflora Barry's selection.
Yes, indeed. Barry, then. This is an in-running race, this big time, isn't it? We're just over halfway.
Yeah, Broom, still your favourite at 11-4. 6 Alrab, 13 Wonderful tonight. 6-8 Albaflora, 7 Hookham. Loads in with chances, Dave.
All right, then, the two Johnson pair, ensuring it's honest enough, aren't they? Franny Norton, Sir Ron Priestley down in grade. Up front is where he likes to be. Thunderous keeping him company. Wonderful tonight. How keen will that cost her? Will it cost her in the final bit? I'll tell you what, Ryan Moore just starting to niggle a little bit now. Broom's filling his lungs a bit. Wonderful tonight going well. Albaflora feeling the pace. Japan, is there anything going better than Japan turning in, guys?
Hookham
Gets the split for Jim Fallon. Look at Broom.
Come on,
Here he
Hookham.
goes. Look at Japan come.
Come on,
This is going
Hookham.
to be the finish of the week, guys. Highest ground's absolutely sprinting home.
no.
Wonderful tonight for David Menuzier. He'll be filling his nose. Go on, the finish.
Come on,
Is
Eric.
anything going to get her? Here comes Broom. We're still going through the card, that's for sure.
Come on, Eric.
Third. Come on, Broom. Can you pick it up?
Come on.
Look at this. Clapton's got it. has
You
she?
look
What a
wonderful
finish. Are you
tonight.
sure, Batch?
Come
Oh,
on.
one landed. There you go. Broom in second. We're going through the card. We got the trifecta. Marvellous. Albaflora very nearly fourth as well. But the filly, the wonderful tonight. My goodness gracious me. What a tune she has played for you. Well done, Batch. Quick double.
Oh, flat racing, jump racing, I've got it all.
Absolutely blinding. What a run that was, Barry Orr.
Yeah, she hit a high of 16. What a great run from her first time up this season. I didn't think she could do it, but she's a real live art contender now off the back of that. Stand by for updated betting from the Betfair Sportsbook on that, or maybe the King George beforehand.
Yes.
Who knows? But like I said, she hit a high of 16 in running. 3.15 Broom was matched at, so a little over 2-1. Hookham, who ran a sledger for G-Rod, 3.5, a low of 5-2 he traded at. Outside of that, not much news. Japan threatened for a little while, traded at 5-2 in running as well for small money. Sir Ron Priestley hit a low of 8.4, Dave. He travelled well too. Cracking race. My selection, Albaflora, staying on well at one pace, but I don't think that's her class. I think she'll see her dropping back down in grade.
Yeah, you'll be looking at fillies races for her, I think now, Barry, won't
Yeah.
they? Rafe Beckett. Ilarab, probably been found out in class. Gee, what a race. We thought this was going to be one of the jewels in the crown this week. No disappointment.
Oh, it was a breathtaking performance from the winner, Dave, because she was wild keen early in the race,
Yeah.
wild keen coming off the home bend, and she just left them behind with an absolutely blistering turn of foot in the straight. She's an absolute top-notch Group 1 filly. She's definitely going to be a player in the Arc, especially if it comes up testing ground. And wow, it was just so impressive, the winner, I thought. A great run from Hookham. Broom, not quick enough.
This is Broom. He's just a grinder. That's what he is.
Yeah.
You know what? I've become more in the Broom fan club than I ever was for his last two defeats. I love him.
Do you think he wants further than a mile and a half?
They tried to make him into a leisure horse. Could he just be the cup horse?
He ran in a Gold Cup, didn't he? Or
Slow pace early might not have helped him.
possibly.
Yeah, ground as well.
Ground
as well,
slow
Barry.
pace.
Get him on a bit of good ground.
Yeah.
He ran on Champions Day behind Trushan.
That's right, yeah.
He's just a very good horse. He's just bottom Group 1 horse, isn't he, basically? He's
Some
above...
updated betting for you here, lads.
Go on then, Barry.
So for the King George, 12 from 20 and 16 from 25 for the Arc, which still seems a big price to me, the 16.
That's the one he wants to win. That's the one
Yeah,
that
that's
David
the
Menuzier wants
goal.
to win. He was really... He was a bit gutted with the way that the race and the weather turned out, that he didn't go for the Arc as a 3-year-old.
What sort of ground do you get at
There'd
the
been
Arc?
a
mainly?
massive price in that.
What sort of ground?
Well,
You
more
can get
often-
any sort of ground, but generally it'd be a bit of giving it in October.
More often than not, this. They said
Yeah,
that when
more often
Enable
than
got beaten last year, it was the worst ground John Gosden said the jockeys had ever ridden on at Longchamp. It was, Stradivarius and Enable had no chance, did they? And this is
That's a
very
really good
special filly.
performance,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
That's
Really
a
good.
really, really good performance for a filly coming back, our first run off the back of a... how long was she off the track for?
245
It was off
days,
245 days,
Champions
G-Rod
Day.
said she wouldn't lack for fitness. I kind of scoffed at that, but he was bang on. Bang on.
He is a brilliant trainer.
He's obviously he's at Coomlands, isn't he?
There is a bit of brilliance.
I sense a little boy.
Well, you've seen the social clip that basically blew us up, nearly had our pants down when she said that last year. But listen, Mr. Menuzier, he's a class act, and it's easy to say that after this, but hopefully we flagged that up beforehand. He loves this show. He loves everything about racing. He's one of the good guys out there. He gets the game. He knows about the social media side of it. He responds to criticism. He takes it on the chin. He started off with John Dunlop. He's learnt the game, and he is just a breath of fresh air. And that it's so good to see him have a top notcher. And this is the third Group 1 in the row. And that 12-1 sounds all right to the King George for me. And the 16-1 Barry, you're right for the Arc. That is the map that they will probably go.
Yeah, he's a huge fan of David Manuzio. Yeah, huge. But this is a serious horse. The way she went through that race was just absolutely tanked her way through the whole race. And you do not see horses do that. You do not see horses travel the way she did and still be travelling so well, turning home, and then produce
Graeme,
that sort of finish.
Is she ground dependent, Graeme?
Yes.
Looks that way, doesn't it?
She is. No, she 100% is. She could probably, they go on it once, as we said, Barry, didn't we, at the start of the week? But if you look at her profile, there's something about David Manuzio's horses. I don't know whether it's because he's out in Arundel Way or whatever, I'm not sure.
It's Pulborough. Trains where Amanda Perrott trains.
That's it. So what is it always raining there?
Huh?
Is it always raining there?
No, just...
It's nice. It's nice there, isn't it?
It's lovely, yeah. It's just a great place to train. He did have, I think he rented...
It's race course, they call Goodwood, don't they?
He rented a barn off Amanda. I think he's now got 2 because his numbers have gone up.
Yeah. A word about the owner as well, Chris Wright, who would have been at Ascot all week. Of course, he used to own Chrysalis Records, of which Clapton was attached to. I know a good mate of mine was involved in that operation as well, and is quite close to Eric Clapton. He will be fully aware of this, let's put it that way.
I think she's very ground dependent. She's got a very high knee action there, G, and which they want that ground.
I'm so impressed with the way that she kept going there. Were you? We've seen creative force. How impressive was that? We have seen, of course, the winner of the Chesham. Remind me the name of the 2-year-old that won the Chesham. The banker of the week for Ballydoyle was, of course, called...
Point Lonsdale.
Point Lonsdale, thank you, Barry and Batch. Not going on up there, you see. I've got to try and remember these names. Who's the highlight? Get your highlights out. It was wonderful tonight. Just gone to the top of your highlight. Who backed her overnight? Someone did. You're all out there, someone, aren't you? I was worried about it first time out. You said she wouldn't lat. You're absolutely right, G. Hookham ran an absolute blinder, as Barry said. Look, it's red hot Group 2 form, that, isn't it?
Yeah, that is
You said
You know, I'll tell you what. I'm spending too much time with the man.
Do you think that Hookham will be better with a more of a test of speed? He looks to me like a speedy sort of 1.5 horse.
I've got to stay up for stateside to see Hookham, because Hookham, I think, will probably get.
You'll see him either drop in trip, go back to 1.25 miles, and then try him over that, or you'll see him come out on really fast ground.
He's met 2 stronger stayers there, definitely, hasn't he?
He travelled beautifully in that race, but he didn't finish off his
He obviously
race.
likes Ascot a great deal.
I mean, you said before the race at Goodwood, when he won at Goodwood, he travelled through the race beautifully and then just paddled
You know where he's
in the
going?
soft ground.
He's going to the Champion Stakes.
Yeah. That looks like it could be a race. He's a good horse. He travels like a good horse. Yeah. Broome didn't
Breeders'
travel
Cup.
the same way. He looks more like a stayer.
I just sometimes, even when a horse is beaten, doesn't it just endear you to them more?
I tell you,
Last 2 defeats
that winner is an absolute tool, especially on soft ground. I mean, 16s for the Arc if it comes up soft.
That's huge, isn't it?
She
Okay.
won't be 16 and comes up soft, and she gets there. It
Yeah.
won't be the colour of it, would she?
Of course, it's
Be single figures in an arc.
with the 3-year-old weight allowance.
Although Love, you've got the older filly and Love as well, and potentially Snowdrop. It could be the ladies' race, the Arc this
That's
year.
it. Yeah.
Been the ladies' race a few times.
Well, it
hasn't
has been.
Well,
It
that's
has.
true, yeah.
It has. Lots to be said
But
about
not
that.
with this quality of fillies, so many of them.
No.
Yeah, and isn't it great to see? Let's just have a little look at her breeding. Let's remind ourselves about one of tonight. She's by the Havre, French Derby, with out of a Monsieur Mare.
Salvation.
And again, she started off at her. She finished behind a filly that never didn't train on, called Domino Darling, at Doncaster, what is traditionally a strong maiden. And like a lot of David's horses, they go to France, G, don't they? So the public don't latch onto them early. And they didn't. I mean, what price was she when she went to Longchamp? Yeah, she was actually made into favourite for that, wasn't she? Because she finished behind Tanawa, which worked out really well. The Breeders' Cup winner, Dermot Wells, now retired Tanawa, of course. So look. This is a worldy filly, and we've got a few of them out there. Who's the best of them? Let us know. Is it Snowfall? Is it Love? Is it Wonderful Tonight? Are they going to dominate? Where do they go? The flat season is alive, boys.
It's alive. How good is Snowfall?
We've been doing this all week, haven't we? What do you make of the Oaks, Batch?
Yeah, it was impressive, yeah. Did like went about a job. And just any horse to sort of people don't realise how hard it is to go to Epsom and do it on a track like that. I mean, they're forever changing legs, coming around the turn. So I was impressed with that. Yeah,
Marvellous.
Yeah.
Marvellous. Yeah. Yeah. So listen, isn't it great to see like David Nuzzi up amongst them? It's absolutely fantastic. The Hardwicke then, done and dusted. Race 3 on the final day of Royal Ascot.
Just on the arc there, just looking at the betting here, you've Love at 5-1, Snowfall at 5-1. They're your joint favourites. Adayar's in there, Mishrif in there, 80-2. St Mark's Basilica. Tanawa is in there, another filly at 9-1. Wonderful Tonight now 12-1.
I thought she'd retired to now, obviously not then, Barry.
No.
Okay,
No, obviously not.
Just mentioned because of course she had Wonderful Tonight well behind in the Vermeer, of course, wasn't it? That they ran in. Wow. All right, it was a proper fillies race, isn't it? Okay, we've got some socials up on the screen. Let's go for it. Who's coming on board? What have we got? Matt Gardner says, "Okay, Matt, brilliant. You're launching this for us. This will be all over social media, our Twitter channels, and everything. Let's get it going." Palace Pier versus Poetic Flair is one for the ages. Sussex Stakes, 3-year-old miler. Looked brilliant on Tuesday, didn't he?
really impressive. Yeah, I think it's going to take a. I mean, look, Poetic Flair done the job this week as well, so it's going to be a hell of a race if they both go. I think they will, won't they? There's no reason.
The duel on the downs, as it's known.
Duel on the
We've
downs.
got another duel, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, Poetic Flair is a perfect example of what I was talking about. A lot of it got ignored in the the hype about the clip that was sent out. A lot of what I actually said got ignored, and one of the things that I said in that
On this show?
about trainers was that I didn't necessarily
See the famous clip.
the famous clip. One of the things that I said about trainers was that I didn't necessarily believe in target training. I just thought you could keep them going, one after the other. Poetic Flair, perfect example of Jim Bolger keeping this horse sweet and just the horse just relishing with running, getting better and better and better. And that's what I like to see. I like to see that sort of train. I mean, Paul Nicholls, another one who really does just let them
You really
run.
ought to pack your bags and go to Australia, man, because that's what they do down there. You'd
I
be
know,
more
I
at
love
home
it.
there. They'd understand you more.
I don't. The whole sort of the thing that kicked up that clip was me basically saying that I didn't really believe in target training per
I'm
se.
suggesting you were stitched up a bit with that clip. Are you?
Well, let's just say that the most controversial quote was picked out, and the whole it was taken completely out of context.
Well, yes, of course it was, absolutely. You haven't gotten this far by saying that right at the start of the game, have you? But listen, OK, Palace Pier versus Poetic Flair. Don't forget St Mark's Basilica might have a say in that as well. Paul Ridgway, down under. G might be on a flight if they'll ever let him back in. Poetic Flair, number
been
one.
once.
Number one. Have you been once? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, OK.
First and last time, G.
Soon boomeranged back, didn't they?
Yeah.
Get him out. Absolutely. He's crazy, this bloke.
The Aussies didn't win it, so
Him and his chubby fingers back home.
Did you go to a Melbourne Cup?
yeah, it was the
Marvellous. Day.
Yeah, it was a great day. It was the year
Flemington is one of the world's
Delta Blues one.
by a mile. Oh yeah, the Japanese ones.
Love to go there.
Oh, it's an incredible batch. The whole of Flemington, the town, is basically from the metro to the buses. Everything's to get into the course. It's like Ascot, but everything is like no traffic jams. I think there's a lane for the course. It's incredible how they do it. Anyway, Paul, are we right about that? I think we probably are. It's still a handicap though. Poetic Flair, alcohol free, Love, and Palace Pier, 4 best wins of the
Highlights.
week. Yeah. Are you with that, Barry?
I am Poetic Flair, yeah, definitely. I thought Love, yeah, definitely. And Oxted, I thought that was a cracking race, the King's Stand. I thought that was a proper race.
Yeah, he bounced back, and again, that makes the July Cup so exciting, doesn't it? Eva Carter, who's been with us this week, great to have you back, says, best so far in my opinion. There's a clear number one here, isn't there? Poetic Flair, subjectivist.
Yeah, I like that. I love.
Of course, plenty was taken away from him, wasn't it? Because of the ride that Strag got. Whatever you make of that, good, bad or ugly or whatever,
Yeah, but listen, it's
Very worthy winner.
very worthy
Have you
winner.
looked at the Racing Post ratings for that, G, by the way? I haven't.
Yeah, I did the race and post rating for it.
It was almost like I might have known that. And how did it compare historically?
We gave it 122 subjectivist, which is better than a couple of Stradivarius's wins, although obviously not better than his 125, which
Last
was
year
when he won by a million miles and everything came right for him. But 122, yeah, fairly high.
So a decent Gold Cup winner.
A decent Gold Cup winner. I think that had Stradivarius underperforming in the region of £10 from his very best. Of
I was
course.
going to say that. So it wasn't. A lot of people say it was a bad ride. He did underperform.
Well, he underperformed partly because of the ride, of course. Yeah, but he
was a bit flat,
underperformed.
wasn't he, when he pulled
Yeah,
out?
he didn't really sort of. For me, his previous wins, when he sort of knuckles down and goes, even though when Frankie did get a bit of a gap, he'd never really. He just.
He tends to win, I think, races that set up well for him. So a lot of the staying races are not run at particularly quick pace, and he's got one good burst of speed, and then he kills them with that one burst of speed, and then he downs tools, and that's why he's had such a long career, because I don't think he does anything more than
He was a bit
he's
of a.
asked to do.
He's still around, of course. He is a bit of a freak, though, Stradivarius, isn't he? Physically, he's batch basically amongst us. That's kind of what he is. Small. You wouldn't pick him out at all. He's a middle distance horse.
He's a fast horse
He's a fast stayer.
who stays.
I still love Strad. Everyone still loves. Strad.
And he got undone the other day by a horse who truly stays, putting a real pace to the race, and obviously getting in a mess.
All right, we've had a bit of a breather. We've been talking about your highlights. Keep them coming in, because talking of highlights, guess what's next? The need for speed. If you got speed, put them on the lead, said Wes Ward to me last week. Great to see Wes get his winner, albeit in the steward's room. Who's going to win the Diamond Jubilee Stakes? Let's have it, Barry Orr.
So I'm Dutch laying 3 horses here, Dave. I'm taking the 3 at the top of the market on. I'm going to be getting them at about 4 to 6 with the 3 of them when you put them all together. So I'm back in the field at 6 to 4 against Dream of Dreams. We're going to take 25 quid out of that at 4.5, which is 7 to 2. G-Rod. We're going to take 25 quid out of Nahar at 4.7. And we're going to take 25 quid out of Art Power at 5.8. So, like I said, the 3 of them coupled together, it's about 4 to 6, 8 to 11. Happy to do that. Back to field at odds against here. Dream of Dreams, I think, is opposable. Glenn Shields has the beating of him on the run on Champions Day at the track. Now, R probably brings the best form. That's into Oxted form there. And obviously, Starman, a non-runner here. He's the one I fear most. Art Power dropping back in trip after disappointing behind Palace Pier last day. I thought the Irish horse, Sonny La, had a chance. Glenn Shields has a chance. I even thought Final Song with Frankie Dettori at 36 was a big price. So taking on the top 3 at the head of the market for a small liability of 75 or of about 40 quid.
Okay, Barry Orr, there's the charity trade then. If you want to get involved, it's the Group 1 of the day. It is the Diamond Jubilee. I know some people that think this is the race of the week, G. They absolutely love it. It's over the last 10, maybe.
Are they Australian?
Not all my Aussie mates, Paul Ridgway, etc. No. This race, 20 years ago, was disappointing, wasn't it? Anything that came from foreign shores would come and win it.
Yeah.
Choisier wasn't a top-notcher in Australia. It was a public horse, as was Takeover Target, as was Miss Andretti. But they weren't top-notchers. Remember when Brazen Bow came over? Chris Waller thought it was an absolute certainty that day, rightly so. And it's a shame because of this global pandemic that we've had to endure. The Diamond Jubilee has suffered a little bit last year and this year as well, because Nature Strip, who is Chris Waller's highest rated sprinter in the world, one of the highest rated, I think it was, Port Palace Pier came back rocking, the highest rated turf horse in the world. He would have come for this. The owners were mad keen to come, despite the fact they could have got so much money just by staying on down there, basically. But the sprint division, thanks to the likes of Muhara and some other horses, has really, and Batash obviously, but it has lit up again. Our sprint division is back, kind of thing, and this Dream of Dreams deserved to be favoured, doesn't he?
Yeah, I sort of set him up as the champion.
You love this horse, right?
I like Dream of Dream.
You love him. You put him up last year. This was your big thing. Do you remember we had Adam Ryan, Kevin Ryan's son and assistant in here doing a feature show, and it was Hello Youmzain versus Dream of Dreams at Haydock, and the man sitting next to you told Adam Ryan that Hello Youmzain wasn't very good. He basically said that Dream of Dreams was going, and somehow he was right, but not about Hello Youmzain, Adam, by the way. But you got the result, and I've always had him down as your horse ever since.
Yeah, he is a weird horse because he's the champion from last year. I think he should have been champion sprinter.
He's unlucky not to potentially be 2 from 2 from this race, isn't he?
Well, he could be coming for a hat trick in this.
Blue Point he bumped into, didn't he?
he bumped into Blue Point, all right, and he was beaten ahead by him. but he ran the last 3 furlongs nearly 4 lengths quicker than Blue Point and still didn't win. Right?
Is that due to another bad ride?
Well, I did argue along these lines. If you remember that, this was one of the reasons at the time for tipping Dream of Dreams to beat was the change of jockey. Was that my feeling at the time was that I think Ryan was giving it too much to do.
That rode him behind Blue Point.
Was it Tudhope? Yeah, I think he was being given too much to do. That was essentially my argument. And Oshin had changed tactics on the horse and ridden him more prominently.
Newbury, wasn't he, when he came and arrived?
But Ryan is of course back on here, so it'd be interesting to see whether Ryan does go back to those extreme weighting tactics which he used in last year's race. I backed this horse in last year's race, and it was exactly the same. Where basically he came storming through and just didn't get there. He made 1 3/4 lengths on the winner, Hello Youmzain, in the last 3 furlongs and missed out by a head. And
should have won.
And that's the reason that, I mean, obviously I was saying in jest about Hello Youmzain not being we all know that he's a Group 1 horse, but
stuck it well, didn't
in comparison to Dream of Dreams, I always felt Dream of Dreams had more talent. If a horse can run the final 3 furlongs that much faster than something else, to me that just says he was probably given a little bit too much to do. Although having said that, had Ryan got him up by a head, we'd have all been saying absolute genius. Those are the margins, aren't they, when you're a jockey? But I just liked the way that Oisin Murphy was riding him. I liked the way that he was just gunning him. He's a strong stayer at a distance. So I'm fascinated to see what's going to happen and how Ryan rides this race. Will he go? No, knowing Ryan, he'll stick to his own plan. He's his own man, isn't he? That's what he does.
And having looked at the markets and having looked at the ground, having looked at the draw, is this the G-Rod tip?
No, it's not.
I knew he was going to say that. What's the bear gone for?
Glenn Shield.
Yes.
Obviously won the Champions Sprint last year. Had a few of these behind, including Dream of Dreams. Now, that for me was very disappointing from Dream of Dreams. That was his opportunity, right? He'd won the Newbury race by a mile. He'd slammed and put away the Hello Youmzain disappointment. He'd slammed him, put him back in his place at Haydock. He was the outstanding sprinter going into last year's Champion Sprint Stakes. All he had to do was win it, make himself the absolute champion, and it was just typical Dream of Dreams. He always, he's got that chance to make himself the champion, sadly, he just always seems to fluff his lines, and he just fluffed his lines and ran poorly behind Glen Shield. Ground was soft. He liked soft ground. Everyone says the soft ground's perfect for him here. Did he have a hard season? I don't think he did, really. He hadn't had loads of runs going into that race.
I thought he ran well. That was in the Greenlands, wasn't it, at the Curragh? And
Glen Shield?
Yeah.
Oh, in the Greenlands, Glen Shield ran 4th.
He's just a one-pace sprinter, isn't he? Am I right about that?
Yeah.
He's a grinder, isn't he, is what I'm trying to say. He's a bit like Broome in the previous
This is his sort of race, isn't it? It's just it's a slow 6 furlongs, isn't it, Ascot?
And if you believe
especially on soft ground.
If you believe in omens and all that sort of thing, after yesterday, with the dragon symbol, who for me is definitely one of the horses I'm taking out of this entire meeting, this would be just for Archie Watson, wouldn't it?
It would be just for him, wouldn't it? And it'd be good to see him win. But Nahar obviously is the form horse.
We'll get to Nahar. We will get to Nahar. And I want to get Barry's take on Nahar as well, because I've got a feeling this might be the gamble of the day, Nahar now. But Dream of Dreams is a spotlight verdict. They're 2 from 3 now. Hookham ran another blinder for them. Couldn't quite get over the line. But Nigel Codrington comes on and says, Art Power to glitter in the diamond. Simple as that. Art Power. Okay, so... winner at the meeting last year, the 3-year-old handicap. If this is your first trip back, Nigel, since that? I'm not 100% sure to remind myself. No, of course, he ran behind Glen Shield, didn't he? Interesting. Yeah, there has been money for him as well, hasn't there? Art Power then. Sylvester de Souza. Do with that winner.
Behind Starman, and probably will come on
just
for
a
that
bit. Run. I think York is just a bit too quick for him now. I don't know. I can see him. I think the stiff test will help.
First run of the season as well.
First run of the season. Come on, Timmy's to beat, having a worldie of a year. Chris Timms says Glen Shield and Sonilia each way against the field. Now, this is an interesting one, Barry. Let's throw the Moy-Glare Felly to you, if you don't mind. Number 14 for Billy Lee.
Yeah, Paddy Toomey's horse. She's a nice sort. She won last day. She beat Romantic Proposal in the Curragh, and the time before that, she was beaten by Gustav Weston. Her form ties in with Glen Shields, actually, because she was beaten 4 3/4 lengths by her in the Champion Sprint in Ascot last October. Probably wasn't a bad run. Was only what? Shaney, half a length behind Dream of Dreams that day. She's in the Moy-Glare colours now. She's a filly that has done really well this year, and they wouldn't be sending her over if they didn't feel she'd had a chance on that ground. I'm sure they're delighted to see the bit of rain. So She'll give a good account of herself. Drawn in 4, though. I think you're going to want to be high here again.
That is interesting. I mean, Glen Shiel would be the key, we think, about the pace. And I guess if you're low, you'll be hoping that you're not too far away from Glen Shiel. Big day for Myglaire, of course, because they've got the Chester Cup winner in the last, haven't they, as well? Falcon 8, so no doubt a big day and represented well at Ascot there today. Andy Sim, welcome back, Andy. Aha, let's get to Nahar. Second to Starman, who would have been fab for this. Absolutely start of the week. Was clear fab for this. Ground gone. Ed Walker pulled him out for another day. Probably July Cup, isn't it now? For this race, Starman non-runner. Hopefully Nahar wins, is my tip. But I have to say, Barry, I did this on price grounds. I tipped yesterday Dream of Dreams. I thought Dream of Dreams was going to be one of these silly price gambles. I thought that Dream of Dreams would go towards about 9-4. They're going the other way. 9-2 I saw this morning about Nahar, Barry. Now under 3-1, is he?
Yeah, no, he's still a 7-2 chance on the exchange. They're barely separable on the exchange, save for just one tick. 4.5 Dream of Dreams and 4.4 Nahar. There's not a whole lot between them, Dave. I thought the neck behind Starman was a really, really good run, considering was winning a handicap off 100 a couple of runs before that, So it's one of those improving William Haggis's in these colours, like we've seen throughout the season. It seems to be one of the highlights of the season, this for the owner. But it's a horse going in the right direction. And if you had to say betting momentum is probably with him, but Dream of Dreams is still very strong at the head of the market.
I'd like to think I know nearly everything about the Partridge horse. Nahar, I think, because he was very good in the Duke of York and I backed him. And they split early behind Starman. And Starman got less complicated ride, shall we just put it that way? He got the optimal ride, Starman did. And I spoke to William Haggis afterwards about this. And I said, what are we going to do with this chap? I said, I asked him about ground. It was soft when he won the Air Gold Cup. They weren't sure about the ground going into that. That's why, and he blew that apart. At the meeting last year in the Silver Cambridgeshire, remember we had Silver Wokingham, when we had a Silver Wokingham, he bolted away with James Doyle. And William Haggis thought he was what he called a moral in that race, which, an absolute nap, can't get beaten, absolute lock, certainty. And he just set it up for a horse called Chief of Cheese. 2 out. It was this day last year we were doing this show. We were all on him. It was the race before we came on air. We were screaming him home, and he just went too hard. Ascot, no problem whatsoever. Better than he showed that day. And the run in the Duke of York, he had to cover a lot of ground. William told Tom Marquand to tag on to the side he thought would be leading. As it turned out, it was a pretty dawdling, even pace. And he ended up going that way, then coming that way. He did a Dragon Symbol G. The trackers would have been perfect. Kinky Cadet out there, who asked for that earlier. Would have been, he covered more ground. He was only just beaten. It was an agonising defeat. I didn't take anything at 9-2 earlier because I thought he would probably be around about that price now, because this ground is something of an unknown. But as we see the times quickening throughout the day on the straight track, now, we've gone from a 2-year-old race where it didn't go too quick to a Jersey, so perhaps we shouldn't take that too much. But it does look like it's good to soft now on the straight track.
Drying out a bit, looks like.
Drying out a bit.
Yeah.
It's perfect for Nahar, basically. And he's drawn in 11. Any pace around him he'll love. He can make his own pace. But they know that this is a Group 1 sprinter and he will go July Cups. He'll go to, what was the race that Keel said? The 6.5 furlong.
The Prix-Maurice Geese.
That's the race. That's the ideal race this year for
pronunciation, wasn't it?
That was great.
Very good, G.
That's the best French I've done.
That was
in a long
très
time.
bien.
It's très bien.
Très bien.
You've never been. There's a reason why you keep going to Jersey, isn't there? It's halfway between the two. But look, these are great horses here. There's no international raider, but we've got some Irish horses in there. This is a seriously good sprint race. If you like your sprinters, this is exciting, right? And Glen Shiel, I thought I'm going to have a bit on him. So I have saved on Glen Shiel. I have backed Dream of Dreams. I haven't backed Nahar because it's just a bit too short for me, but that is the headline tip.
Nahar,
does that explain it?
Oxted was third.
Yes.
Yeah,
as Barry said, it was well advertised, wasn't it? So Paul Keeley likes Happy Power, doesn't he? He gave us a good explanation for that. We will be listening to Keels. These chats that I've been doing with Keels, just after the feature race of the day, have been going well. All the naps have pretty much won. So stay glued for that. It's coming up after this 4:20 race and the review we give you. And he's been bouncing this week, Keels. Let me tell you, he's in the pub all day today, Keels. He was hoping yesterday. He was one of the ones yesterday. Call it off yesterday. He was saying we'll have 14 races tomorrow. I'm in the pub at 11 a.m. I'm going to watch. You could have put fear for the man, wouldn't you, if he wasn't such a professional?
He wanted to be in the pub last weekend, didn't he?
I think he had a good go a couple of nights this week. Don't worry about
Fear
it.
for anyone who was with him as well, having been there a few times.
It's today. Do you reckon he's cleared the bar? He could probably do that, couldn't he, old Keels? Yeah, the legend that is Paul Keeley will be joining us after 4:20. Okay, Matty Batch, your tip, please.
Yeah, I'm with you, Dave. Nahar. I just thought the form with Starman and now Oxted, it just stands out for me, and I think he looks a really nice horse for me going forward.
Okay, Tommy Marquand and William Haggis will do for Matty Batch as well. So we're going through the card at this point, aren't we? We're going through the card.
Yeah.
We said we go through the card.
Well, Batch is going through the card.
Well, hang on a minute. I've had a winner. Look, just don't be sore.
That doesn't count.
Don't be sore. As long as the panel go through the card. I said we're going through the card. At the minute we're going through the card, who we got running for us? We're not spreading it about much, are we? Nahar. We've got Glenn Shiel. And Barry's Dutched a couple, isn't he? So we've got a couple of chances. You've still got some time to tell us who you're going for at the moment as we watch Dream of Dreams. Wonderful horse to look at, Dream of Dreams.
Beautiful. Chestnut, so would be a good jumper, obviously. And
he was Rowan, of course. But they're always what we call a flashy chestnut, you know, the light brown. They're always good gleaming in the paddock, aren't they? Which some people think is a bit of a red herring. But
Yeah, they do.
What was the best colour of horse that you rode over a jump? Random, but there's a reason why I'm asking you this. Did you ever have it like, I'm on a grey, I'm on a roan, I'm on a chestnut, I'm on a
Grey.
Monet's Garden and whatever.
Monet's Garden.
What colour was? Who was the best jumper you rode? The very best jumper you rode, was it Coney Grey?
Coney Grey, yeah.
Was it? Yeah. What? Just there wasn't. I always liked when I'm interviewing someone like you, Batch. I always like to know about the ones that got away. You know what I mean?
Look,
the one that in the morning.
I rode
was
our
so
best mate.
he was a good jumper.
He was
Super, wasn't
he was a fantastic jumper, but to ride him out in the morning, how frustrating.
he? Why is that?
Why?
Oh God, he was just annoying. He was one of those horses that would not walk. He would just trot everywhere. He wouldn't. You're going out. You're going.
I've got a mate like that, haven't they? We're all thinking of that mate now.
You go up to the gallop.
Best
You'd have a
mate.
nice walk, little trot. No, not him. He never walked for one stride. And even after his work, I think he had that much energy. He just jig-jogged all the way home as well. You're like, I can't wait to get off this. I mean, you'd have loved to have rode it in a race, but right now at home, you go and go, best. Oh, God.
So did you get some, having ridden him in the mornings then, that must have been a serious thrill when Jim Cullity was getting on him at Cheltenham, wasn't it? Could you see in it in action, you know?
Yeah.
Played a small part, if you like.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I was very lucky. I rode him out once. But just for that.
That's the sort of thing that I'm interested in. With
Yeah,
people,
he
actually.
just to sit on him, you know, and the potential that he gave you, like some horses at home, they sort of just go about their business, do the work. But he, at home, you thought, he's just special. And to reach the heights that he did wasn't a surprise.
Only on this show before the Diamond Jubilee could we be talking about a three-time gold winner at Cheltenham. But everyone's best mate, Matty Batch, telling us about that. There's a social on the stream. Manny Draycott, welcome back, old boy. No love for some again, Dave. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about a few of the rags then, shall we? I call him a rag. He is an absolutely wonderful horse. One person you know will be on this, Manny, will be Bruce Millington. I said earlier at the start of the week, when Bruce was in and we were calling the Wokingham last year, he was doing. I was almost like his spotter, and I know that he'd had a bit of a go on Summergan, and he's watching Hello Jonesy on the far side, and I went, here comes Summergan, and he went, wow, like this sort of thing, and he's charged. Honestly, it was so good to be in, because I could. The moment when we went to Barry, I basically looked at him and I went, oh, mate, sort of thing. You know, he got done. It was one of the most agonising defeats, Matty, wasn't it? And of course, he went and made it right in the Stewards' Cup, wouldn't he? Would you be totally surprised if he had a say in this, G? I mean, you've put him up a few times on the show this year.
Yeah, I really like
God,
him.
He's a cliff horse for you now, is he? Because you put him up at Doncaster and he went and won the next couple since, having not fired on Town Moor.
He comes into the Starman form as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, well,
Fourth last time.
was he fourth to them?
Fourth to them, yeah.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, great shout, Mattie. Okay, we've sort of forgotten horse, and how could
Yeah.
again on this show be a forgotten horse? What about Ventura Rebel? And final song, Barry, let's come to you with this one. Now, I assume you're basing Frankie Dettori's mount on that Maidan run.
Yeah, that, and I thought he plenty of racing in Maidan, but last year over here in Newmarket, he had a good run behind Glorious Journey, albeit over 7 furlongs. I just like the look of that run. And then the Maidan form, he seemed to come into his own in Maidan, and he wasn't beaten that far in his first race back on the grass in the UK behind Starman and Oxted, and obviously he had Nahar in that race as well. He was beaten around 12 or 14 lengths that day, but I think he'll come on significantly for that. The ground probably the concern for him, though.
You know, sometimes when someone's telling you something, you're looking at the price and going, "Hold on a minute, actually," and I'm listening along. I think you're absolutely right. It's a big price, isn't it, Barry? Because if you forgive the York run, and some horses just don't talk to York, she is very interesting. And of course, Extravagant Kid, who she just got touched off by in Maidan, was third to Oxted, of course, in the King's.
I've got to give a mention to the German.
Ah, here we go.
Horse, Dave.
Alderflug is it by? William Buick going for a quick
Because obviously, you know, we're still working towards this column that I'm going to be writing about all the German winners this week, and
it's never, as a column, been so anticipated on this show.
I know. And the trainer here is called Dominic Moser. I don't know a lot about him, but he's had 2 winners in Britain, and they were both 33 to 1 outsiders.
He'd won in Newbury one day, I remember. I was there.
Ward P. Fad. I always call it the horse. Ward P. Fad or Ward Fad.
I do remember it.
And that absolutely loved heavy ground. And we said yesterday, German horses just love testing ground. It wouldn't surprise me if his runner ran well, Namos.
All right, then, okay. And the one that we've got to mention, because we know what happens. In fact, there's 2 that we've got to mention, because we know what happens. They usually go and win. Ventura Rebel, it will appreciate the test. Royal Commando, got to step up a bit, I think, for Charlie Hills. Charlie Hills has also got Garrus, who chased home Dream of Dreams. Should that be 80 to 1?
100 to 1.
100 to 1 then on Betfair, of course. There you go, the exchange. They're always bigger. All in then for the race of the day, the Diamond Jubilee. Good luck wherever you're going. And we are away. Everything, I'm delighted to say, has come out as intended. Who's going to lead? Unsurprisingly, Holly Doyle, Glenn Schill, one way of running. However, they're splitting. An Art Power SDS. I tell you what, you've got to admire SDS. He went a bit too quick on Winter Power in the King's Stand. Hasn't put him off. He's tearing away on Art Power. Final Song is just tracking that one. Then Royal Commando, Nahar in this near side group. Ventura Revenue, Summergan going to come from last. Along with Garrus on the far side. Happy Power. Sonelia's over there as well. Where's Dream of Dreams, G?
Yeah, he just come there travelling quite well. It's going to be interesting to see who's in front. This looks like Art Power's in front on the other side.
Yeah.
Glenn Schill cannot go the Art Power pace, but he will dig in. That means Dream of Dreams is going to have to do it the hard way if he does it.
Come on, Holly!
Now Nahar is
Come on, Holly!
together. Final Song, Frankie
Here's Dream of
Dettori,
Dreams.
sensing this a little bit. Dream of Dreams on the far side. Come on, the 7-year-old for Sir Michael Stout on the far
Come on,
side.
Holly!
Nahar getting a bit frowning on the ground. Glenn Schill coming back. Art Power still in the centre, however. Let's see who gets it. Where's it going? Dream of Dreams looks like he's going to get
Come
up.
on, Holly!
Him and Glenn Schill, Art Power's there as well. This is a cracker.
Dream of
But the
Dreams.
7-year-old's going to do it. Dream of
of
Dreams and Sir
Dreams.
Michael Stout. Happy days, Ryan Moore. Could he still be
I
leading?
told you we
jockey?
should have gone at 5 to 2.
At 5 to 2, the leading jockey. I tell you what, you cannot keep a good man down. Unbelievable scenes here on Racing Post Live. Sir Michael Stout, Freemason Lodge, take a bow. It's the 82nd winner for Sir Michael. Absolutely brilliant. He should be going for a 3-timer in the race, according to Graeme Rodway. He makes it 3rd time lucky. Barry Orr, what a finish.
Yeah, cracking finish, really. I thought Holly was sticking it out at one stage. Art Power traded at a low of 1.54, so 4 to 9 for 52 quid. Your winner, Dream of Dreams, had a Betfair SP of 5.11. That traded at a high of 6.2 in running. Glenn Shields didn't trade at all low in running, considering I thought he looked at it to have every chance. The lowest he hit was 6.2, would you believe?
Wow.
Which I thought was a bit weird. 163 quid. 160 quid match there. Art Power went off your favourite at 4.96. But yeah, Dream of Dreams for Ryan Moore. What way is he now in the betting? I'll give you a quick update. Ryan Moore. Yeah. Well, I can't quote you what's there, but he's probably around an even money chance now. Is he? Or 6-4 against?
Here we go, Ryan. I'll tell you what, you cannot keep a good man down. He went into it, third or fourth favourite, didn't he, I think? And they have a habit of doing this, the team at Ballydoyle and Ryan Moore. They nick it right towards the end. Wow, that was the Diamond Jubilee. Who sparkled with Dream of Dreams then? Isn't it great to see the 7-year-old make it third time lucky? Graeme Rodway, your horse.
Yeah,
your tip.
Yeah, but very pleased for Dream of Dreams. Obviously, a bit disappointing that he's beaten me again and I've crossbarred again with Glenn Shield. He's run an absolute stormer, but very pleased for Dream of Dreams because I think, and I have said for quite a while, Dave, I did build him up in the paper today as the champion who has not really gone on to be the champion just yet. He should possibly have won 3 Diamond Jubilees in a row. He certainly has been beaten very narrow distances in the last 2 years.
To see that, isn't it?
And he's an absolute superstar of a horse.
Yeah.
And he is, on his day, is a top-class sprinter. He's so strong at the finish. But so is Glenn Shield. I mean, he got taken out on his shield, hasn't he? Glenn Shield really did dig in, gave a right battle all the way to the line.
Yes.
To Dream of Dreams.
Yes. And I feel a bit for Glenn Shield, a little bit, Batch, because wet ground is what he wants, the sort of tacky ground. And he had to go a bit earlier than he wanted because Sylvester just went so hard on Art Power. This is a horse that needs to keep in that rhythm, isn't it? Do you think if he hadn't have been made to go by Art Power 2 furlongs out, he looked in a lot of trouble, probably why he didn't go so short, Barry, I would wager. Do you think he would have reversed that?
Possibilities, yeah, because as I say, on that ground, going that speed, it's got to take a little bit out of you, I think, and where you need it is at the end, and where Ryan saved, he's just used up a little bit and just maybe cost Holly the win, yeah. Nahar just never looked, towards the end when off the broad, just never looked happy on the ground.
In the wrong group, Graeme?
Yeah, possibly. Art Power has run an absolute stormer, hasn't he?
Has he? What, because he went way too quick, do you think?
Well, he was on the stand side on his own. He's beaten the stand side group mile, hasn't he? You know, and he's run an absolute stormer. But he is becoming that sort of horse, isn't he? He's running well without winning.
5 from 7 for the July Cup, that's turning into some cracker, isn't it? Oxted 9-2 to win back-to-back July Cup. Starman also 9-2. Dream of Dreams 5. Campanelle is 6. Dragon Symbol 6. Creative Force 8. Nahar 8. Like that could be a cracking race this year.
Yeah. Who's excited for July 10th then, which is when we'll be bringing you the July Cup at Newmarket next month here on Racing Post Live. Yeah, absolutely, Barry. Has there been, let's hope they all just turn up there in one piece, because has there been a more anticipated sprint I think that we'll be finding next week when the dust is settling on Royal Ascot than this July Cup?
It's going to be a cracker, isn't it? I'm not really sure that Newmarket is Dream of Dreams track, but we will find out.
We will find out. Glenn Shield, you think, might go there if it looked like there's a little bit of rain?
Of rain, probably.
Yeah, he'll need that to go, I think, won't he?
Yeah, I think
they'll be looking back at Champions Day for him, surely, won't they?
Oh, definitely. That's his race. Ascot on soft ground is his bag. I think the July Cup, if it comes up quick, you might not see either of those two be competitive because it'll be an entirely different race. The track at Newmarket, although there is an uphill finish in that July course, the track at Newmarket is literally downhill all the way to that last furlong.
Wow. OK. We're sizzling here on Racing Post Live. Another man that's been sizzling all week. Let's get some help then for the last 3 races, 2 that we're covering here on RP Live from Keels. Diamond Day then it has been this Saturday so far. We're absolutely rocking. The curtain's nearly coming down. I'm delighted to say that Keels joins us back for these chats that have been going really well. Really enjoyable, Keels. Nice and easy going, but it's the Wokingham man. Come on.
I've looked at the race. There's plenty of soft ground form in it. There's a couple of massive prices that I've had little each way tickles on. One of them is Snazzy Jazzy. It's been sold out of
Clive Cox's
yard for, I had to get the nudge then. I was trying to remember who it was.
It's been a long week, Keels.
I'm getting old, though. But yeah, it's 17,000 guineas, I think it was, and it's gone to Lawrence Mullaney. And I imagine winning a Wokingham with a cast-off sprinter from Clive Cox.
Oh, that was compound Clive's week, wouldn't it?
There were plenty of negatives there, aren't there, with that? Why would you get rid of him? But he's gone.
Yeah.
He's only lost once over a shorter than 7 furlongs on soft ground, and he was only beaten ahead then. He's won some decent prizes on soft ground. He's a very good horse. He's got to carry top weight. Laura Pearson in the saddle.
There we
I
are.
mean, you imagine all those years ago when Gay Kellaway rode Sproulston Boy, and it took years and years and years for a woman to win. They're 10 a penny now, aren't they?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
you know what I mean? We've got so many good ones about,
yeah.
and she's really good. And she's really good. She banged in Lola Showgirl the other day. Already had a winner. I mean, what to say? She can't have another one. And the other one is Air Raid. Air Raid Jed O'Keefe won a Scottish Stewards Cup 2 years ago on soft ground. Won another race on soft ground at Haydock last year. It's all in his favour. He's not badly. I think he's £2 higher than for those 2 wins. You know, he's not badly handicapped. He does like the ground. He shaped okay when 8th on his recent return. And I think the ground's come in his favour. They're 2 complete outsiders. I do think Pendleton is a very good horse.
It's just whether he goes on the ground, isn't it?
I don't know Pendleton, but I think
He'll be
Pendleton.
fine.
I think he goes. Definitely goes on the ground. I wonder whether.
Right.
I wonder whether he'll truly get home.
That's what I was reaching for.
That was
yeah.
funny. Yeah, he handles the ground. He's gone close on soft ground over 6 furlong before, but I wonder whether he truly gets home. That's what worries me.
This is why these chats with kills are key. You'll know out there's no one better at the post than all of a sudden jumping when the ground changes. Trust me, as you just seen there. We go to the Golden Gates handicap next then, mile 2. I still think a low draw is important over the mile 2 as it is in the Wolverton, but as the ground softens, they might come up the middle, mightn't they?
Yeah, they might well do. Yeah, I'm not sure how important it is, and I hope it's not that important because my fancy is an 11, and that's Pythagoras.
Oh yes.
Now Pythagoras, I think he's got a massive chance. I mean, he was entered in the Hampton Court earlier in the week. Didn't run because the ground was so fast. Ran in the Dante. Ran a really eye-catching race in the Dante because he was very keen early, and he was out the back in a steadily run race, and they quickened. And he went through half the field before getting tired at the end. All his best form last year was on soft ground. He definitely wants soft ground. You know, you could, I think, on the Racing Post ratings, that was still his best ever run in the Dante. And
I liked him as a 2.
He was just never in the right place. So it looks like he's improved. If he gets home, and I think there has to be some sort of doubt, then he's a massive player. Like I said, they were going to run him in the Group 3, and he's rated 101 and a handicap.
Richard Fahey already off the mark. Okay, and the final race of the week. Are we in agreement here in the Queen Alexandra? The longest race of the entire year, calendar year.
I think we're in agreement. I think Falcon 8 is a worthy favourite if he goes on ground as deep as that. I mean, his Chester Cup win was really impressive. He
sort of blew them away,
he won pretty much as he liked. It was very good ride from Frankie. So he's a very decent horse. Whether he wants to ground that deep, I don't know. One that does is Staghorn.
All over it.
Last 2 times he ran on soft or heavy ground, I think he won by 10 lengths and 9 lengths. And they were at 2 mile and 2 mile, 2.5 furlongs at Pontefract. Pontefract's one of the stiffest tracks in the country as well. So, you know, everything is in his favour. He just has to run a massive race on that ground.
Yeah, there you go. All right, they're the final 3 races on the Saturday, bringing the curtain down. Holly Doll, thanks for joining us this week, Kills.
No problem, mate.
It genuinely has been a pleasure.
It's great when you back a few winners, isn't it?
Well,
I was a miserable git for the entire week. You know, I've had a
you
couple
really
of
were. Yeah, you can't keep a good man down. Some of you will just be tuning into this show just for this chat. Let's hope he bangs some more in for us. There we go then. All right, it's been so enjoyable having Kills this week, and he really has ensured that we've got, you know, bumper profit towards the back end of the day. And our thanks to Paul Keeley for that. Send him some love in the chat if you've been with Kills all the way. Of course, if you've been having a really good week, important that we, you know, back up these charities. We're playing for charities. Barry's been doing so well all year for the charities. We've been hearing from them all, you know, when he's been sending me over the checks, absolute recipients. Do check out the link for Racing Welfare. Maybe if you've been backing some of these winners that the panel have been suggesting today in particular, and this week as well, give them a little love for the racing workforce out there. Charlie Post doing that great North racing cycle, isn't he? Okay, I'm looking down because I'm checking out to see exactly what's coming up next. Oh, we're sticking with the straight 6, aren't we? It is the Wokingham. And guess who's on the favourite? Oisin Murphy rode King's Lynn in the King's Stand. Graeme Rodway thought that was unlucky, not to have gone a lot closer. Ryan Moore takes over, Barry. The old mute button with Barry again, is it?
Sorry about that,
there he
lads,
is,
but
he's
he's
a
been
hat
well
trick of that, Barry, I think. I was like, he won't do it again, I don't think.
He's been well found in the market at 7-2, that's for sure. And I can't have him at all. 10 fresh, Ropey Guest 12.5, 13 Rohan, That could be a big price. Pendleton 12.5, 18 Mr. Lupton, 18 Chief of Chiefs, Punchball Flyer 18, whole host of horses in there. You name them, I can quote them. So what we're going to do here, can't believe we're getting King's Lynn's this short. Everyone's saying unlucky the other day. I think this horse finds trouble in running. I think the race that he won last day, we did it, Dave. I laid him that day as well in Haydock. He beat Mossgill. I didn't like the form of that. He's dropping back a furlong, or he's going up a furlong here, and it's on soft ground. So I think this is eminently opposable. We're going to take 50 quid out of him in the win, and we're taking 50 quid out of him in the place. Happy to be a price taker here in the pink, please, G-Rod. So we're going to take 50 quid out of him at 4.2, 50 quid at the backer stake. And then in the standard 4 place terms here as well, we're going to take 50 quid out of him. And we can lay him at even monies there. So we're going to lay an even money, even 50 him not to finish in the first 4. There's a whole host of place terms here. There's 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 place markets here on the Betfair Exchange, and they're all quite liquid. So we're going to be a price taker again, take it an even 50 quid. Cannot have King's Lynn at all here. I don't care Ryan Moore's riding, and I just can't have it at all.
Yeah, he's a project horse, King's Lynn, for Her Majesty.
Well, and like in running, he's traded in Chester behind El Astronaut. He traded at 5 to 4 on 188. In Newbury, came from the dark, won the race that day. He traded at 2 to 1. And Doncaster, the time before that, he traded at 175, 8 to 11. So he has a history of not just putting it in. So I'm happy to take him on, especially going up the extra furlong and on the softer ground.
He's a thief, Barry.
Well, look, he is.
I hope you're right, G-Rod.
Yeah. Well, so Barry said at the top of the show, he said he's laying boots on. The right ones in the market have been going in, Barry, but you're not perturbed. The books, I think, and the layers and Barry will be fancying. They're going to get one of the big ones beat, and it could just be this chap. I say he's a project horse because he's a cliff horse for a lot of people, isn't he? But after the King's Stand, a decent judge I know phoned me up and went, "Have you seen how unlucky King's Lynn was?" And I went, "Oh,
did he back him, that guy?"
Yeah, of course. All these.
Yeah,
he's got a massive
talker.
following.
I don't.
He's got.
Yeah, I don't.
He's probably watching, going, "I'm no pocket talker, Barry." But
well,
no,
I just thought I've watched the race over and over again. I don't think he might have been a half a length or a length closer. I don't think there was any massive difference to the result.
I have to be honest, Barry. I'm sort of in your camp. But this is a horse batch that has a big following, and he does tend to polarise opinion. You're in the camp that he was unlucky.
I thought he was very unlucky. Yeah, I thought he might have won.
Hey, that's exactly what I was told.
You know,
I had to watch it back like Barry a few times. I'm still a bit meh.
He would definitely have been placed, no doubt about it. He would have been second or third, and it's hard to know what he had left under the tank. But he was going as well as Oxted when Oxted made his move, and Oxted got the clean round down the middle.
Yeah.
King's Lynn was on the favoured stand side of the track. I just wonder if he'd got that clean run that Oxted got
move was
on the favoured side, then he might have beaten him. But he might have only beaten Oxted. I don't think he's a better horse than Oxted. He might have only beaten Oxted because he was on the favoured side and Oxted was in the middle, maybe. But obviously it's all hypothetical speaking, and as Barry said, he is kind of that sort of horse.
You
make that sort of argument for him a few
Haydock,
times.
Do you remember? It was good to soft, wasn't it, on the Temple Stakes day?
Yeah, we did that race.
We covered it, didn't we? And Liberty Beach went out and won the following Temple Stakes. I said, this is a thinker, this chap. And he must be a layer's dream, you know, because he's always short in the betting. And as Barry says, he always goes low, and he doesn't often do it. Of course, that was the day he did it. But he definitely had to think about it when Mossgill came back at him. Mossgill missed the break a bit that day. Two things.
That's not good form.
It's not good enough form, but he was rated 95 going into that, which gave him a rating of, what was he rated? 107.
Yeah, he's £7 well in theoretically here, isn't he?
Because of the run in the King's Stand, because he was still lowly rated compared to some of his rivals in that. What I'm saying is this is a horse that they know is more talented than a handicapper. It's the form with Starman at Doncaster when he was a 3-year-old that made them think, if this Starman's doing so well, we know our horse hasn't quite showed himself yet, and so they rolled the dice with this chap. They're big time rolling the dice here, Batch, aren't they? And it's good to see a horse back up. We used to see it a lot, didn't we? So in King's Stand to Diamond Jubilee. Tell us out there if you can find a horse that's gone from King's Stand to Wokenham. It probably was an old school thing to do. The handicapper would have him £7 higher, so perhaps they're thinking, right, 107, we might, that might be as good as he is, and maybe he's in the Wokenham, so let's roll the dice. Has he had Ryan Moore yet? That would be the question that I'm going to ask. He has. once, and he finished second. When was that second, G?
Chester.
Chester.
Now, I wouldn't hold Chester against him so much because El Astronaute that day around Chester was like Catchy, wasn't he? Remember, bless old Catchy, who just, you ping the boxes at Chester and if you're a quick horse, you ain't coming back.
Yeah.
And El Astronaute was not coming back that day. And that was the day when a lot of people jumped off King's Lynn, but ultimately probably never stood a chance that day.
Super run, that was. Super run.
Behind El Astronaute.
Yeah. it was
You're a
super
fan
run.
of this horse.
I like this horse. Yeah, I think he's got a lot of ability, but whether you want to be taking 5-2 about him in this race,
This is monster gamble time, isn't it? I
he
mean,
is very short.
go down the SPs of the winners, Barry. And it's just, apart from Cape Byron in 2019, when he landed that gamble at 7-2 for Roger Varian, it's 9-1 or better, the winners.
Yeah, he's 9-2 into 3-1. 5.8 he was earlier today, and he's 4.1 now. And probably go shorter than that, and you'd want to lay him all day. Can't believe we're getting him that short. Great price to lay him at.
And is this because we're totting up on Ryan a little bit, or?
There'd be an element to that, only a small element of it. Some firms managing their liabilities, but it's just sometimes the public just latch onto a horse. Everyone's telling them he's £7 well in. It's in a handicap. He ran the Grade 1 on Monday. You know, with Ryan Moore factor there as well, and the Queen more than anything as well. The Queen ownership, obviously. So I think everyone would like to be involved with being able to cheer home one for the Queen, and this is her most likely winner.
She's had a couple of near misses in the opening Chesham Stakes, for example, and throughout the week. And this chap has run once on soft, and he was second. Was that at Chester? It might have been at Chester, mightn't it? I mean,
Doncaster.
Doncaster Starman, was it? Let's have a look.
Yeah, but the time before that, a couple of weeks before that, they took him out of a race in Ascot, in a handicap in Ascot, a 3-year-old handicap, because of the ground unsuitable. Now, that could have been fictitious reasoning, but they said the official excuse was the ground.
And this is tacky stuff, isn't it? So we're just not sure really what we're going to get. But if you believe that horse is a well handicapped, you don't think he's going to have a problem. Did he have the hardest race because he got snatched up? Probably not. Extra furlong. So let's just deal with the favourite before we go down the panel then. How many times has he run over the 6? That's the next thing I'm going to ask. Yeah, he's 2-2-0-2 over that, but he has one, of course, over 7. Ryan Moore, if he's going to have a think about it, you probably don't want anyone better on your side, do you?
No, it's it. I mean, listen, he can do it on any sort of horse, but on them in particular, he's one of the best at it. Yeah, very good.
Yeah. Let's start with you then, Batch. It's the Wokenham. There's only 30 runners, mate. Where are we going?
We are going, Dave.
Who caught your eye?
Your pin out.
Yeah, get your pin out.
Well, obviously, look, who's the headline tip?
I did like Pendleton.
Yeah.
Second to Fresh, first time out. Could turn that form around.
Basically, it was a moral as they both should have been given the verdict.
Yeah,
shouldn't
one
they?
at York. I agree with Kiltree. Whether he just sees this trip out as a thing with Pendleton.
Yeah.
And then one at a big price I like, who likes these sort of races, run well in this race, is Danzino. That's a big price.
Wow.
So I was going to give that a
You
little...
like that, Barry, do you?
Give that a little shout.
No, we do a podcast, a Racing Only Better podcast, and Tony Calvin put it up as an outsider. He thought it had a big chance, and he does. He's a remarkably consistent horse, isn't he? And he loves
in these sort of
big
races, yeah, loves them.
Yeah, 20 runners here and cutting through them. And like he could run into a place at a big price. There's 7 place markets on Betfair, so it could be worth consideration there.
The old Danzino.
Danzino.
We've all got a story about back in Danzino, haven't we? 9 non-runners in this, of course, we should say. This was the big hit, wasn't it? Bless old Ross Briley. I know that he went to nap in this last night, didn't he? But he said, I'm not having the greatest week, so let's go for it. Great ambassador, non-runner. So another one that Ed Walker has had to take out. That's been the story. That would be a story, G, wouldn't it, of the week? Ed Walker. We were, everyone was trying to get a word with him a couple of weeks ago about the team he had going into it. Primo Batchelor out, Starman out, Great Ambassador out.
Yeah.
Disappointing week. Not really left a lot on the table, has he? But he's not had anything to bring.
No, and it'll be interesting to see whether those decisions pay off, won't it, later on in those horses' careers, and also whether those horses are as good as they look, because we've just seen Nahar get absolutely thrashed in that race. Yes, of course, Oxted did come out and win the King's Stand, but that was the King's Stand was 5 furlongs, quick ground, stiff track at Ascot. Maybe York 6 furlongs, soft ground, maybe not ideal for Oxted. Maybe that day Oxted wasn't quite his best now. You have to start re-evaluating that race,
But that's why these trainers do that, isn't it? He's Royal Ascot. You could either get that's what makes a good trainer. Not that there is many bad trainers, but you come to Royal Ascot. Do you get caught up in the occasion and say, well, we're running, we're here? Or you think, do you know what, if we run them here this week, that could be our season done and dusted. And
It'd go either way.
And Ed said,
Princess
no.
Zoe would be the case in point when it's second in the Gold
Ed said,
Cup.
oh, no, I'm pulling the carpet on these. There's another day for these.
See, that's where I'm of the opposite opinion, as you know. Like I've already said about Jim Bolger, I'm a big believer in running these horses, you know. Yep, soft ground, whatever. Run. So, like Mark Johnson says, run. What's the worst that can happen?
For me, that was the gift horse of the week, by the way. The quote that we had in the paper. It was gold. And you don't know about trainers' comments and quotes sometimes. I know a lot of you out there just go on the race cars looking for the quotes and stuff. But Jim Bolger said he's needed every run he's had, basically. I've never had a Group 1 horse so hardy.
Well, but he's had a few.
Well, maybe, but that was his quote.
I mean, do you remember some of those horses?
4-1 Poetic Flair.
He had also Lush Lashes, put together form figures of something like 2-1-1 in the space of a month.
Yeah, Finchal
Finchal
Bayo.
Bayo.
Yeah, I know,
I mean,
absolutely.
he's
Dawn
had some
Approach.
hardy
He
horses.
does run his horses, but the quote was, "This is the hardiest I've had." Because I must admit, when they went to France and then to Ireland, I'm thinking, right, this is obviously from midsummer on, this horse is going to tail off. Everything's going to go past him. And it's the complete opposite. I tried to read between those because he wasn't in the Derby. I thought to myself, are they just trying to get the best out of him now for commercial purposes? But of course, the master trainer was absolutely right. But that quote in the paper, if you believe these trainers' quotes, that was the one where it was 4-1. It was everything told you to back it. Everything he was saying was back this. And of course, it absolutely hosed up. So
I get what G's saying about running horses and things like that, but the days have gone now that what a trainer says is that's what's going to happen with the horse. There's a lot of people there's a lot of owners now in the background that have a lot of say and say, we're doing this, we're doing that.
yeah, I mean, he
And
obviously owns his horses.
As it should be, in my opinion. I mean, if you
Well,
own,
it is, yeah,
if you own the horse, you pay the
course you do,
bills,
yeah.
you make the choices.
Yeah.
I think. It's
All right, okay.
Just the trainer's
But
job
then
to
there could
train.
also be too many chiefs
Yeah.
Cooks.
and
Chefs.
chiefs.
Trumpetist.
Too many, yeah.
Chief cooks.
So, chief cooks, absolutely. Yeah, there's
Well
a few of them
cheers for
out
that,
there.
Barry.
Just to run out the stats on horses who competed in handicaps after running a Group 1 on
You
their
just run 'em?
previous start. Literally just run them now.
Oh.
So it's
Not just a pretty face.
it's 8 winners from 102 runners, so 8%. However, if you narrow it down to horses who backed up within 10 days, it's 1 from 1.
Oh, right, okay. So
100%.
100%. There you are. Ooh, G-Rod, the bear has been poked into some action. And that's what he's given us. So if you go on the trends then, very interesting indeed. If I was going to give you SPs, I would try and narrow it down a bit like that. And we haven't got time for it though, G. But very interesting indeed. So remind us the headline tip, Pendleton. Pendleton interesting to me because David Armstrong, the owner, could have had many, well, I say many, could have had 3 or 4 in this. And this was, from the moment they had the entries open, this was the only chap. I was on Fresh when they passed the line together, and I actually thought I might have lost on Fresh, but I'm sticking with Fresh in the Wokingham. I like this chap. He's got soft ground form. He caught my eye on his return at Kempton. That's why I was with him. This is the sort of chap you need in a Wokingham. Travel, pounce. And he should have beaten Pendleton a bit further that day because Kieran Schumacher was snatched up, which not quite a lot was made of that. But you know what it's like when you're on this horse, you see them travelling, and will the gap come, won't they come? You're watching it more than anyone else. And Fresh, the course and distance win. You're getting a price probably because Kings Lynn has been whapped. I mean, without Kings Lynn in this race, it's him and Rohan and Pendleton fighting it out, which I think is the right way, but it's Fresh on top. I am interested in Rohan, though. I've got to say the 3-year-old.
Yeah, that was one I wanted to talk about. The only 3-year-old in the field, and that's great form, Dave. There's without a shadow of a doubt. The only reason he couldn't run the Commonwealth Cup is because he's a gelding.
Yeah.
So he had to run here off 112, which is a big ask for a 3-year-old. But Jenny, he's done nothing but improve all year.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just looking for the 3-year-olds' records in this. I think they used to do it quite a bit from memory. There's only one that's run in this in the last 10 years. Would you believe it?
Support, Dave. He's into 10 from 12.5.
Well, that Dragon Symbol
11.
form, Barry, it's
Looking
just
solid, isn't it?
Oh,
That's red hot, yeah.
red hot. And he is a horse that this is Dave Evans, you know, and he would have been very interesting in the Commonwealth Cup, wouldn't he? He's a horse that needs covering up. Shane Kelly's on. around the all-weather, he really came good. He's been on the go for a long time, G, hasn't he?
Also, there was a massive gamble on it, was it? David
Rohan.
Evans. Was that?
No. They have come for it a couple of times.
No,
during the
that was
winter.
Shoe.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that was a 2-year-old, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
horse
First
called
time out.
Shoe, yeah.
But listen, this is Dave Evans, and this horse has, when he was winning on the all-weather, they were going down right into it and having a crack at him. And of course, he is a good to firm winner here as well. The ground was no problem for him. He goes on everything. He's just tough as teak, this bloke. Ryan Moore was very complimentary about him when he won. Was it the Paradise Stakes he won? Wasn't it? The Pavilion Stakes, sorry, wasn't it? Yeah, it was on Cigar.
Ascot, yeah.
I don't think David
Bycatcher was there.
That was the big kick-up that a gelding wasn't able to run. That was a
Yeah.
Commonwealth Cup
Yeah.
trial, that race.
Yeah.
And he was the only horse not eligible for it.
And Creative Force and him, what if they both went and won at this meeting? Well, there you go. I don't know. It's a debate, that one. It's very interesting. The spotlight goes for Fresh as well. Tom Segal, I know. That was what it was, a sea of blue, and there's a big spike on Betfair for him going downwards. Fresh will do for me, but I am interested in Rohan. The other one that I'm going to throw to you is Hey Jonesy, last year's winner. Big eye catcher at Chester on his return. He was drawn in 10 last year. He's in 12 this time. He makes a lot of his own base. Megan Nichols, what a spin this would be for her. Won a bumper, of course, at the Aintree meeting, and here she is riding for boss Kevin Ryan here. Do not discount him. If he gets something akin to a fair lead, he's been primed for this. Let me put you only just a little
Kevin
bit higher.
Sott's injured, is he?
He is.
Did he get a bad fall the other day?
Yeah, he is. He's okay, but it's a couple of quiet weeks for Kevin, and then he'll build himself back up. I think he got quite lucky, actually, Barry.
His girlfriend Megan takes over.
Yes, absolutely.
Good story.
Do you remember it was a double as well, wasn't it, for Stotty last year as well? Because he went and rode Hello Humes, and Callum Adams says, Pendleton and Rohan for me. Welcome along, Callum. Absolutely. So there you go. We're talking about some of them. Evan Nierenberg, good to have you back on, Aaron. Evan says, Chief of Chiefs and Gulliver, my hopes. Now, Dan Walsh in the gallery has been trying to send me jokes. I think he's got a strange sense of humour, Dan. He says, Gulliver was bucking away there, he says. Full of beans. Make you wonder whether he'll travel. Oh. Lord and Lord. There's a reason why he's out there. I think he's better with the vision mixing. But yes, okay, so Gulliver was obviously full of beans. Gulliver, Barry, is the kind of horse in these races, you can't really discount him, can you?
Yeah, but he doesn't put his head in front, does he, Dave? He's like a 7-year-old now. He's rated 99. He's always thereabouts. He runs in these races. Great horse to own, I'd say. But he finds it very difficult to win. You have to go back to York back last October 2020 for his last win. And that was off 102. Like, he's only gone down, 3 pounds in the interim. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 runs later. Like, he'd break your heart, but he's so consistent. But just the handicapper has a grip of him.
Yeah, so look, he could be one for the place market, couldn't he? I'm sure you're on each way or in the place terms or whatever you are. There's a horse that beat Kingsling in this as well called Aberama Gold. He's a bit high in the handicap now, potentially, that chap, but he's interesting as well at big prizes. Punch Bowl Flyer, the lovely Punch Bowl Flyer, pace angle in the race. Chief of Chiefs won the silver Wokingham last year, didn't he? Won't mind the ground, I think. Coming back to Ascot looks key, so good luck with those shouts. Graeme Rodway, give us a tip in the Wokingham.
I have gone for Desert Safari, Mark Johnston's runner. It's ridden by Frankie.
That's interesting, isn't it? I mean,
he got quite a good record for Mark Johnston. I think if you'd backed all of his rides for Johnston, he'd be in profit in the last 5 seasons.
why this chap then?
I like the way he won at Goodwood a couple of starts ago. It was over 5 furlongs. He did it nicely. He went to Epsom last time out, and he was well fancied. And he definitely went too fast. You know, they went a real bonkers pace like they do at Epsom sometimes. You know, they come down that hill and they really get going, don't they? Especially over 5. And he was up there all the way with that pace. I just thought it was worth putting a line through that run. This, of course, is a 6 furlong race, so he's going up in triple, stiff track on soft ground. But he's got form over 6 on soft ground, the back at York, which is a strong race when he was behind Gulliver earlier last year. And he looks like a good price to me, Desert Safari. I think he's up around the 20-25 to 1 mark. Obviously, being the Wokingham, I've had a few other pokes, Dave.
Yeah.
Aberama Gold, you just mentioned. I backed Aberama Gold each way because, like we've gone through this a few times, the favourite here, King's Lynn, is 5-2 favourite, and Aberama Gold is 16, 14 to 1, something like that. And they're very closely matched on that form from last year. Very closely matched. It was 6 furlongs, soft ground, just like we're going to get today at Doncaster. And they were both running off marks of 92 that day, Kings Lynn and Aberama Gold. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, Kings Lynn's improved since, and he has. Aberama Gold has improved since too. And he's only, he's £1 worse off, and he beat him, I think, by a head or a neck or something like that. So they're very closely matched on that form, the Doncaster form, yet the favourite Kings Lynn is 5-2, and Aberama Gold is a much bigger price. So I've definitely had a little bit on him, and at a huge price, Zargan. I've had a small play on that as well.
Tell me about Zargan.
He is a really fast horse,
Scott
trained
Dixon.
by Scott Dixon, ridden by Jonathan Fisher, claiming £5, who I don't know a lot about, but I do like £5 claimers, £7 claimers in races like this, you know, just straight tracks. I know there's a big field, but this horse is a fairly straightforward ride. He's a point and shoot. You just got to stick him out there and let him go. And he runs solid races in some big field handicaps, the likes of Pendleton and stuff like that in his form. And he's a huge price. He's around 40, 50 to 1. I like horses that have got form.
Is it because he's German?
In big fields.
9.
Is that anything to do with it? No.
I do like German.
German horse.
I'll tell you what, he's
like
married
the
a Canadian, so he's
I do
definitely
like
an
the
international
Germans,
man.
and I might have a little bit on the Germans to win the Euro, seeing as they haven't won anything at Royal Ascot this week.
They might go out
They're
tonight.
going out tonight.
Portugal tonight. They might, woo.
That's one of the things that you can definitely point at Rohan, I think, is that he's not a battle-hardened horse in the sense that he hasn't been in huge field handicaps like this before. Obviously, he's had lots of runs, lots of experience, but this will be a different race to what he has been winning. Like that Haydock race was, 10, 11 runners. He's won an 8-runner contest.
Last 3-year-old to win the Wokingham, I found it.
Who's that?
When, it was
Probably a good one, was it?
It was a long time ago.
Long time, yeah.
It was 87. Richard Quinn rode it.
What was 4?
Bell Bayou, I think it was called. 11
Richard
2
Quinn.
favourite. Well favourite, yeah. But only one has tried in the last 10 years. So it's because the 3-year-olds struggled to get into these handicaps all of a sudden, didn't they?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Oh, and
They were going for other targets.
they'll go for the Commonwealth Cup.
Exactly that.
Which this all can't, you know.
So I guess that the Commonwealth Cups, you know, it's a win for the Wokingham, isn't it?
Well,
The 3-year-old geldings, unless you're going to be a freak creative force,
probably wouldn't have got in there anyway, would they? In the Wokingham.
You've got to be. Well, no, that's what I mean. But if you are going for a Commonwealth Cup with the 3-year-old, you should be able to get into the Wokingham, shouldn't it? Like Rohan has, you know, one.
Well, yeah.
You're looking at around about one. Well, you want to be at least 105, don't you? But 112 Wokingham mark for Rohan. Does that put him? Who's top weight? He's number 4, isn't he? Who's top weight? Probably out of top weight. Oh no, Snazzy Jazzy, one of Keels' picks. I mean, if this wins.
Just love soft ground, don't it?
And he says it's unbeaten around the trip as well, didn't he? When he said that yesterday, I was like, oh no, don't tell me he's found one.
50 to 1.
Yeah, but it's ex-Clive Cox horse. This would compound Clive's week, I said, didn't I, on that chat. Heavy ground, 1-3 of his form figures. Soft ground, soft to heavy form, lots of ones. Ascot, not so good, just 8th when he turned up. But he has fallen in the handicap. Laura Pearson claims, as Keels said, already off the mark. She's broken through, Laura, at Ascot. And I don't know, first time out, a bit freaky, isn't it? But his form over 6 when they're soft is very, very interesting indeed. He's the class angler.
Is it soft enough for him?
Good question.
What about the trainer?
Lawrence Milani.
Yeah, I don't know much about him.
He plies his trade up north. Lots of Hamilton and York would be his big track, basically.
Great Hampton, North York's he's based in. But
And he inherits horses, basically, often, like Snazzy Jazzy. And Keels is... I mean, I jumped off Snazzy Jazzy, that bandwagon,
Kalachi Warriors
some
one
time
is.
ago. Yeah. So lots of all-weather runners, etc. But Faye McManaman, Dad Tunhope, Paul and Muir would be his sort of jockeys. But if you're a Northern race fan, you've seen Lawrence up there taking loads of prizes, basically. So
What about
is a big fish for him.
what about Luppy?
Mr. Lupton.
Love Mr. Lupton, Luppy.
Yeah, he's drawn. Again, that was
Love him.
one of those agonising wins last time. I think was that the Bielsa race that you won. It was, wasn't it? Where Bielsa got snatched up a little bit at York.
Yeah.
it was. Yeah,
Proper horse, Lupton.
Ascot finished second. He's got 1 second at Ascot. and
Sargon was
4 runs.
third in it.
Yeah, Zargon was third. That's a pace angle. Mr. Lupton. you couldn't rule him out, could you?
He loves fast run, strong, big field.
It was a big price at the start of the week.
Very tough.
He just went in the wilderness for about 4 years, didn't he? Do you remember? Very good 2-year-old. Very good, classy young horse. Went totally into the wilderness. We all jumped off the cliff, and then he started winning a load again, didn't he?
Yeah, love Luppy.
You know what's been punted here, lads?
The Lupper.
8.6 from 12. Ropey Guest.
Oh, thank goodness you mentioned this chap.
You know a lot about this one, Dave.
This was a project, another project. Funnily enough, how many projects have you got in a Woken? It was a nightmare, isn't it? If one of them wins when you're not on, it's the FOMO, isn't it? We call it fear of missing out. Well, I don't. I mean, he only ran earlier in the week, didn't he?
Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, this has been a massive gamble. Well, Keels tweeted apparently about this. Was he on the wrong side or when he was in the
Unfavoured
Buckingham
side,
Palace?
yeah. That's what he said, yeah.
Yeah, so he obviously probably didn't have the hardest race there. He loves Ascot. Made the frame in a jersey. Class animal. But again, a bit like Gulliver, who does travel.
Another horse I'm going to flag as money for, number 7, La Pang, Tim Easterby, James Doyle.
Yeah.
Was 50 into 33.
Penalised runners don't do too well in the Wokingham, and I don't want to say this is a social runner because he probably stuck with places to go, but he was £2 badly off under the penalty. He beat a horse called Rathbone of Kevin Ryan's last time at Hamilton. Talented horse, lightly raced, has had his problems, but a dandy man will light the ground, I think, in 27, Sylvester de Souza. Just if only...
Have we mentioned Chief of Chiefs?
Yes, we did a social...
I think we have, Baz. I think we mentioned everything.
Well, we haven't quite mentioned everything, actually.
Chef of
Very
chefs.
difficult. Chief chef, yeah, quite right. Massive great horse. Charlie Fellows could do with it. He's had 2 places during the week, Charlie, isn't he? It's Spence
Punch
on.
Bowl Flyer.
Punch Bowl Flyer,
Fast,
pace
isn't he?
angle.
Fast.
Eve Jones. Eve.
Fast grinder.
Bit blasting.
Yeah, he did me a favourite at Windsor early in the year when I turned up at racing again. I was great, and loads of people on. That was the year when, that was the race when Aplomb.
Her horses are running well. Every time I turn on the telly, she's having a winner.
Johnson Elton won early in the week, didn't she, of course? Chipotle.
Laura Pearson's off Snazzy, so they're going to be loading Snazzy without the rider on board.
Going in Indigo Balance, I don't know a great deal about, Barry, for Shane Foley and Jesse Harrington.
Yeah, her horses haven't been running well at the meeting, it has to be said, Dave. She brought plenty of horses over, but Indigo Balance is he's owned by the Chinese owner, Yulong Investments. Form behind Gustav Weston, I couldn't really have. He ran a good race behind Logo Hunter, who's probably the best sprinter in Ireland. He was beaten 9 lengths in that race in Nace, but he'd have a chance off his mark. But 105, I think, is very, very is quite a hefty mark for him to try to win off. It'd be a career best effort.
Let's see how they get on then, because they've flown out the gates while Barry was talking there. They caught me by surprise, I have to say. And they're splitting into 2 groups. So I think if they was to full field without the 9, we would have first time this week seen 3 groups. But thankfully, it's just the 2. And Dan Zeno up there with surprise,
Frankie.
Sylvester de Souza. Desert Safari on the far side, then leading Air Raid. You've got to be going quick if you're leading Air Raid. But Fresh on the far side will love that. I mean, they're racing a long way out here, G.
Yeah, they got going nice and early, haven't they? Come on, Frankie, kick on from the front.
Fresh is absolutely cruising on the far side. Which
favourite's
group
going
is it?
well
I'm gonna
as
say it's
well.
Far side. Hey Jonesy, last year's
Definitely
winner.
far side.
Danzino this side. Frankie's still up there. G's got a chance. Here
Come on,
comes
Frankie.
Fresh. Come on then, Fresh. Fill your lungs, me old son.
Here comes
Shona
King's
Bay to
Lynn.
go. I think
King's
we've got a
Lynn.
winner here. Fresh is going to get him. Going on top. What prize
What's
is
this?
it?
This is
Come
flying.
on, this is all over.
Rohan's flying.
Rohan's absolutely flying.
Rohan.
This is the Commonwealth Cup winner. Unbelievable scenes. Rohan's going to see off Fresh on the far side. Very close for 3rd. Was that King's Lynn on the far side? It was. Flashing home. Wow. Unbelievable scenes that will rage on. The Geldings debate. The 2 that would have gone for the Commonwealth Cup have taken out 2 races. Alternative targets. They were forced to. First time since 1987 as a 3-year-old one. Dave Evans, take a bow. Absolutely wonderful. Shane Kelly at his very best. Sees off the 2 favourites. It's the market race all the way, Barry. Gulliver was up there as well, I can see. Wow. Tell us the story of it.
Yeah, amazing race. I tell you, King's Lynn, who came with a bit of a rattle, met an awful lot of trouble in running. When you look back, you'll just see how much difficulty Ryan Moore got into. You could mark that run, hit a low of 3.85, which is 11-4. Fresh hit a low of 6.2. That's all. I thought it would have gone shorter than that. Rohan, a high of 15. Had a Betfair SP at 10.5. We flagged it up beforehand. Obviously, Gulliver hit a low of 4.1. Would you believe, Dave? Just marvelous horse. Well, he's been on the go for how long now, and he's managed to come and win. Woken him off 112, 112, mark 112. That's a great performance.
Yeah, and in contrast to Ryan Moore, although again, hopefully we nailed King's Lynn basically, because we'll go to G after that. What we can say is last to first, Graeme Rodway.
Yeah, it was very impressive. Different class to that lot. I think he's definitely a Group 1 horse, isn't he, Rohan? We've seen him obviously come up against a Group 1 horse.
Guess what he's going to get a quote for?
July Cup?
It's going to be the July Cup again, isn't it? Wow!
Some race that.
I'll tell you what, how many runs has he had since the turn of the year? Let's count them. Oh, my Lord. Okay, no, actually, let's do it since the all-weather... Oh, my Lord, he's been on the go since November.
Yeah.
That is unreal, isn't it? Since basically he was trained by George Scott. He's gone to Dave Evans. He's absolutely turned himself inside out. We're watching head on. Gulliver's run a blinder. Absolute blinder. A giant run from Gulliver. Hey, Jonesy's there.
He's going to ring Dave. You're going to take that to Jersey, Dave?
That win the champion hurdle over there, will it match? Fresh has seen a lot of daylight, and he remains a horse to be interested in for all the big sprints. He'll go up again in the handicap. Shane Kelly really liked that one.
Yeah.
Doesn't often show a great deal of emotion. Oh, we'll talk about Shane Kelly in a minute. I've had an interesting journey with Shane. Fresh looked like he had it, and Kieran Schumacher must have thought, this is it. I mean, he's a strong traveller, as we said, the perfect horse for a Wokingham. However, right behind him was the classy Rohan. And Shane Kelly
Look
knew...
at King's Lynn.
He knew that Fresh was the one to go on. King's Lynn, around about the same time that King's Lynn was getting trouble, Shane Kelly had to map a path as well. And
Ryan didn't know where to go. He came across the stand side, and then he had to get a gap. He had to switch left. He finishes up in on the rail.
low draws then, basically, in the Wokingham. That was the way to play it. They didn't want to know the near side rail. Danzino didn't fancy it much, and neither did Sylvester on Lampang. But what an exciting race that was. Who found the winner then? Who went with the 3-year-old? We told you it hadn't been done since 1987 beforehand. And Barry, this is what this show's so good for, isn't it, Barry? We did the Sandy Lane Stakes. We did Creative Force's Saturday win, of course, when he won at Newbury as well. We knew then that they couldn't go. And this has been some debate, hasn't it, whether they should have been allowed to run.
Yeah, a lot of people said that the gelding shouldn't preclude you from running in the Commonwealth Cup. Obviously, it's all down to breeding, isn't it? And it's the same. A gelding can't run in any the Ledger or any of the classics in the UK. Sure, they can't, because you're trying to propagate the breed and you're trying to breed the best with the best. And this kind of negates against that. But marvelous performance from the winner. And I suppose he could be a Breeders' Cup horse now as well. That potentially down the line.
Wow, why not be so ambitious as that? Unbelievable scenes. I tell you what, the more you look at this run, you have to say it's a very good Wokingham, I think, because you've seen some very progressive horses, G. The King Stand form is in there. Fresh has just graduated from the handicap, hasn't he? And he's obviously proved himself to be a pattern class sprinter as well. Gulliver gives it the substance. Last year's winner, back in about 6th. There was something else sandwiched there as well. I couldn't see what it was.
Chief of Chiefs.
Was it Chief of Chiefs?
Was 4th. And that horse will pick up one of these.
Air Gold Cup?
Somewhere. I don't know where it's going to, probably Ascot, but...
He'd need a lot to go right for him, wouldn't he?
We were all very strong on him, weren't we, at the post last time? Was it the Victoria Cup when he ran there?
The winner's stone cold last.
He is.
3 furlongs to race on that far side.
Oh, he's a different class of horse to that.
But travelling though, Barry, wasn't he? He was travelling so well.
Travelling really well.
Really well. And Shane's just sat there.
What a cool ride from Shane Kelly. He just didn't panic at all.
He's a very cool customer, Shane, isn't he, Batch? And
very cool.
Him and Dave Evans. Have you come across Dave much over the years?
Yeah, I've had a few rides for Dave.
Over the hurdles, yeah.
Over in Guernsey and that, he's a bit of a character.
Oh, he is indeed.
But Shane, I put Shane, I sort of put him in the same bracket as your Spencers. He can... Listen, they can all do it both ways, but he was just ultra confident.
Yeah, I'm going to bring you in here, Rodders. Shane Kelly like Jamie Spencer, punters like to scream at the telly, and then he had this renaissance, as you might call it, didn't he, with Richard Hughes? Actually, not riding so much with Richard in a minute. I wasn't actually sure why that is, but Dave Evans and a couple of other yards are using him to great effect, and Rohan it's probably been the horse, but talent-wise, you know,
Yeah.
Curly saw it in him, didn't he? You know, and he nurtured him and all that sort of thing. Always Frankie and Jamie and Quealy and all. I mean, top boys we're talking about it.
Yeah, he has his own style of riding, doesn't he? And it's not to everyone's taste, a bit like Spencer. But when he gets it right, you know, it works, doesn't it? And
He's been called a lot of names over the years.
to be fair, like
When you meet him, he's actually just a nice guy.
It is, yeah.
He's just
think-
a nice guy.
I think that you know, that also was just a different class to that lot.
Yeah,
It was just so much better
Yeah.
than the rest.
yeah, that was great to see, wasn't it?
I think us three could have won on that one.
Carrying us through.
Yeah, carrying us
What
through.
do we make of King's Lynn again? Obviously, another sort of FIFA.
Done what Kings Lynn does,
Yeah,
and
no.
I guarantee
Unlucky.
you that.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, Barry. What? How low did he go?
Yeah, he didn't go that low at all. It was only 5-2 or something.
Okay.
3.6. He didn't go that low because it always looked like he was trying to get out of trouble and get him there. But he's ran well. But yeah, it's just another one where he's kind of found trouble in running and ran on.
Which,
I'd say you could mark him off for it now. And no, I wouldn't be going as...
Oh, you
I wouldn't
jumping
be as
on,
gung-ho
Barry? You
next
jumping
time, I
on?
don't think. No, I wouldn't be as gung-ho in Laneham as much as I was first time round. And we win our win part of the bet, but we do it back in the place part because he finished third.
Yeah, but listen, we're showcasing the functionalities. We're showing you what you can do. We're talking about all these horses as individuals. We know them inside out. And it's great to see these older sprinters. We're getting to know more about Rohan, a Group 1 sprinter, says Graeme Rodway. I'm waiting for the quote, Barry, by the way, for the July Cup quote. Is he in it?
Not entered.
Not
entered in the July Cup. So we just need to see if he's nominated by connections that he'll go there. We'll give a quote, but not without seeing where he's going next.
It's fair
He'd be
to-
to arrest the poor horse, wouldn't he?
Well, again, not according to Graeme.
They won't rest him.
No, keep him running.
Not according
They
to
will, won't
Crocodile Dundee over there. Absolutely not. No way. All right, that was the Wokingham then. We've only got one more race here to go for the week on Royal Ascot. Unbelievable scenes, isn't it? It is, of course, the brilliantly named new invention of the Golden Gate Stakes, the handicap, Grade 2. It is a wide open race, Barry Orr. Where's the final trade of the week being placed?
Yeah, 2 non-runners here now. 1 and 16 are out. Your market headed by Fantastic Fox at 6-8, 7-8 King Frankel, 7-2 Alfadal. Fox's Tail is 9-9-2 C-Set, River Alwyn 21, 16 Baton Rouge. Sorry, some money for that. What I'm going to do here, though, I'm back in King Frankel. We covered this on Racing Post Live, Epsom Derby Day. And he walked out of the stalls. I think he actually might have reared up in the stalls before losing about 20 lengths. It looked like he traded at 20 after going a couple of 100 yards that day. He ran on then, and he traded at 1.3 in running day, 3-1 on, if you recall, after hitting 20 after a half a furlong. I just thought the ground could be okay from Frankie on board today, 7.8. At the moment, and we're just going to have 25 quid win on him, please, G-Rod. And what we're going to do is we're going to be a price maker here. We're going to be a price taker, actually, because the money's coming from at 7.8. If the 7.8 is gone, just select 7.8 and we'll turn into a price maker. Look for it to go over onto the pink side and for someone to come in and back it with us. We can reassess that bet as we get closer to post time. But a backer of King Frankel at 7.8.
That's the final trade. It's also Dave Orson's final tip of the race in this weekend. Okay, super stuff. I'm with King Frankel as well. You'll Be Mine will be the dam, and this chap will do for me. Frankie Dettori on. Absolutely luckless run, wasn't it, at Epsom, Barry? And was this the one where I said put on another 0? I think it was, wasn't it? And we know what happens when that happens.
Yeah, he traded at 3s on then after that. But it's not even that one. It's the run before that, which worked out a really, really decent race. Well, what everyone thinks is a really decent race. We didn't get to see Bay Bridge this time round, unfortunately, due to him picking up an injury. But he's 4 lengths off Bay Bridge, although he was getting £8 that day in the London Gold Cup. But I think that was a really decent run. The time before that in Pontefract was on good to firm ground. He was odds on, and he won his maiden. And I just think off a mark at 91, after what I saw in Epsom, I think there's more to come from him.
I'm with you. I'm with you all the way. Like his draw in 6, Frankie will have plenty of options. We know he's better than the Epsom run. He was a clear second best at Bay Bridge, wasn't he? No problems about the ground whatsoever. King Frankel to reign for me as well. Matty Batch in the final race of Royal Ascot on Racing Post Live this week.
I like C-Set, back up in trip. Good run at Hardwicke last time, just seems an improving sort. And also, I do like Crowley's mount, Alphadel.
Have you had the word?
Jim's given me the nod.
Has he?
He thought he was going through Royal Ascot, and he said he was hoping for a big run from this horse. He said he got, when it ran at, was it York last time? Or hey?
He was on the all-weather, wasn't it? Hang on, let's go back to...
Let's have a look.
He
was
won at
all-weather,
Chester.
yeah.
Was that when he went up to
No,
Chester?
when he ran at Newbury as well.
No, Linkfield.
Newbury
won
behind
last time.
Foxtails, yeah. He come out slow away and got badly hampered. So I think you can and he was finishing well and finished third last time. So I think, yeah, if he breaks out this time, no trouble in travelling, and then should go well.
All right, okay. C-Set, Tom Segal, nap of the day for Tom Segal as well. He was a big eye catcher behind the Roger Varian 1000th Roger Varian with a Radeberg, wasn't it? Of course, he did found a bit of trouble, and I remember Tom Collins was on the show. He was all over him that day. He said, "Wherever that runs next, we will be winning." Probably didn't think it would be Well, Ascot TC, did you? But Ben Curtis is on for Roger Farr. He farmed stall 4, so just 2 away from King Fankel. Now, Alphadel as well, a very interesting horse for Roger Varian, who could do with a winner. Lightning might be striking twice, though, according to our friend, our esteemed colleague, Graeme Rodway, the bear in the corner. This time, yesterday, the hoodoo was lifted. Your nap went in the final race. Quickthorn, massive gamble. You were on, popping corks, massive hangover this morning. You've saved your best for last again.
I have, yes. Been a frustrating day again so far, Dave. Couple of crossbars, Hookham ran very well, and Glen Shield went close. Hoping that this one will go one better. This is my best bet of the day. Fantastic Fox. I put him up on Price-Wise Extra actually this morning. He was a lot bigger price, 8 to 1. He's into I think about 5 to 1, something like that now. But he's by Frankel out of a mare called Vasilia.
Why should we know about her?
Well, we've just seen one of her foals win the Diamond Jubilee because Fantastic Fox is a half brother to Dream of Dreams.
Beautiful.
So it would be a great double, wouldn't it, if they could both win on the same day at Royal Ascot. He's got a lot of sprinters in his pedigree, Fantastic Fox, but a lot of those would by more speed influences, and he is by Frankel, who obviously is more of a stamina influence. And at Hamilton, last time out, it was a very short price to win, but he could not have done it any easier. He won by 7.5 lengths. Absolutely doing handsprings. He went through the line like a tank. He absolutely went through that line like he was flying, and he had loads in hand in that race. He shaped like he would definitely improve for the extra furlong and a half that he's going to get here on a stiff track. The time was very solid, and he ran the last couple of furlongs in group ball sort of time. I mean, the sectionals were fantastic, just like his name, Fantastic Fox. And he is the absolute nap banker of the day. So let's hope that he ends the meeting with a winner. Fantastic Fox. And fingers crossed he goes on the ground. He's got some form on soft ground. First time out, he was third. So
Frankel should be fine.
Frankel should act on it. Dream of Dreams obviously likes soft ground. So everything in the pedigree suggests that the ground won't be an issue. And I'm really strong on him. Fantastic Fox.
He's very well regarded.
I'm just going off peak a minute because I just watched Shane Kelly get his medal, get his trophy, and I just realised how much he looks like the child catcher in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Sweeties, little children.
Yeah. I have some goodies for you.
So you've just undone all the good work that I've just done on this show, saying what a nice bloke he is, what a great ride it was. I'm thinking in future guests, all that sort of stuff. He's the child catcher, according to that. And these two, of all the people that we do these shows with, that undo all the good work that myself and Barry Orr and the people that really care about this show do. You two.
Yeah. What do you have us on here for? They
could honestly, literally topple a house of cards just by looking at it. So there you go, the child catcher has got his big day in the sun. I thought Archie Watson in his top hat looked something out of a Dickens film. You watch, but look at the pictures of Archie Watson.
He looked like, no, I tell you, no.
More and more
no.
I look at it, I'm like...
You know who he looked like? Bob Cratchit.
Bob Cratchit. Once again, it was nice knowing you, Archie Watson. This is a sizzling race, though, this guys, isn't it? Let's get some more socials in then. 5:35 is the final race here. Let's have it. What were your performances of the week? What were your performances of the day? Did you have your 1, 2, 3 sussed and then maybe Dream of Dreams, Creative Force? Was it Rohan? Wow, what a day we have had. Point of Lonsdale. I can tell you I've seen a couple of quotes coming in Point of Lonsdale. Guineas, as you might expect from Aidan O'Brien, the winner of the Chesham.
16 and 20.
Yeah, interesting, Barry. And you said beforehand the reason why you weren't sure about him, even though you knew that it was the banker, probably, they do collect with it, it's because he's in Australia. And Aidan does say unusual for an Australia. That's his sire to have so much speed. Could be a freak.
Not so much speed, but to be out so early in the season, usually it takes them, to come into themselves. They're usually back end. You'd see them more September, October, some of the Australian 2-year-olds, but to have one ready in June will be quite unusual.
There you go. So Point of Lonsdale, we might, and Aidan also says with the 3 coming clear, he's in a steadily run race. He thinks it will prove to be a smart race. Okay, that's the master trainer. Hugh Masson really likes King Frank's or Bay Bridge form. Yes. No Bay Bridge this week. He would have had his ground, wouldn't he? Oh, absolutely. But King Frankel, clear second to him that night. Hated Epsom. It's just one thing you want to see with King Frankel, guys, is that he comes out the gates a bit better. He was tardy away at Epsom. It wasn't just the Tattenham corner and all that sort of thing. He was tardy away. I want to see him break. He's got Frankie on. When was the last time Frankie missed a break on something? Probably very...
When he was claiming 7. Probably.
Well, probably. He's that good, isn't he? I mean, we talk about these young riders coming out of the gate. He's just the best, isn't he?
He's fantastic. He's been, from the word go, I still think he's the best, to be honest. He's just absolutely fantastic. He just makes it look so easy and effortlessly.
I was about to say, don't unravel it. And now the social clip's been ruined by the fact you can't pronounce effortlessly. Unravelled again. I was thinking, here we go, Frankie, you can watch this.
Put me off. I thought we had a carry-on film on Sid James, but it's David Evans.
Lookalikes all of a sudden from the podiums. He looks a little bit like Bob Marley there, doesn't he? And I mean, I mean how the Dickens thing. Not One Love. Absolutely not. He definitely does not look like him. I bet he does a great Bob Marley, though, on the karaoke, does Dave. He loves the celebrating after the race, Dave Evans, and he's a massive one for that.
And so he should, in a winner of Royal Ascot.
They're going to have a good one tonight, Rohan. Well, just when you think the day couldn't get any more interesting. And again, at 6 p.m, 9 p.m, the digital edition, of course, of the Racing Post. All your digital subscribers out there can read everything, but you get the quotes and the reports and everything. And now all the analysis is starting to be done. The Racing Post race will be in. You can let the dust settle a little bit, and then we'll digress. And this time next Saturday, when Racing Post Live is back, I'm sure we'll have a lot of narratives going on. So not entered in the July Cup, Rohan. Now they've certainly got the money to supplement now, I would imagine, Connection. So we'll see. Could he just... He needs to have a stab, doesn't he? He's going to have a stab at some point, Rohan. Him and Creative Force.
Yeah.
Both deserve it, don't they?
Group 1 horses, both.
But this has been... The fact they couldn't go on Friday has been Saturday's massive gain, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Huge.
Yeah, we've seen 2
Dragon Symbol and Rohan, when in the Sandy Lane, we were like, we're not sure about that. But
proper stars, haven't we?
Proper stars. Yeah, Dragon Symbol. Let's hope he stays around here and doesn't lured by Hong Kong, etc. in Australia.
You think they would, wouldn't they?
Let's get another social on the screen then. Who comes on? Yeah, we'd think that batch, yeah. And Dion Abedawaywon comes on and says, do not discount solid chance for Joseph O'Brien with visualisation, who revels in the going. Barry, over to you. Betfair Ambassador, Joseph Patrick O'Brien. Any chance for Declan McDonald's ride?
Visualisation. Yeah, he gives it a very positive mention in his blog on Betfair. His last run was on heavy ground in the Curry. Absolutely. He kept on really well towards the finish. The win going away, he was quite convincing at the finish, really. He was getting plenty away from the runner-up mind and the third horse, Horoscope, who disappointed this week. It was a Premier handicap over a mile, and he'll be there or thereabouts. But Joseph, really, his horses haven't been firing this week over there, have they?
Second was the best he got with Liffey River, wasn't it, in the Britannia? I think Benno's a horse to keep on side, isn't he? I think from the and what I thought was a decent Queen's Vase. It hasn't disappointed at all this week. All the races, I know, people saying you've been over positive, effusive. One thing that you do as an analyst, Graeme, as you well know, when you talk to an analyst, the first thing you're supposed to do is pour cold water on what everyone's sizzling about, and then you can really see it for what it is. But this weekend, in particular, this week, has really been the envy of the world, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been great, hasn't it? And the change in conditions in the middle of the week as well just completely changed the whole complexion of the meeting. We had really, really fast ground, some fantastic performances earlier in the week, didn't we? With the likes of Poetic Flair, absolutely superb. And the great race in the Commonwealth Cup on soft ground, and the drama afterwards, the steward's inquiry. The great quote from Wesley Ward, where he was on the TV and he said, "Oh, if this was in America, I'd be sipping in the champagne bar now." He said, "Because we'd definitely get it, but over here we're not sure." I thought it was brilliant.
Great idiosyncrasies of British racing. And he's right, it was the tale of two halves with the weather patch, wasn't it? Unbelievable. But the right horse is still sort of winning.
Yeah, definitely. And highlight for me is sort of seeing like things like Oxted win.
What's your number one, Batch, of the week? Putting you on the spot. What's your number one? We've asked the viewers out there, we've had some great contributions. I'd say Poetic Flair, if you're running a poll, would be just about top G, wouldn't you, at the minute?
It was a star, wasn't it? Star performance. Yeah. What about Love?
Well, there we go. Batch, number one.
For me, it would have to be Joe Fanning, because as a jockey, I love it when lads come out, and when someone like Joe's won a big race like that. And also, I know Hector Crouch, he had his first Royal Ascot winner, so sure fire.
Don't mention him.
So, yeah.
Please, don't mention him.
What the sure? Oh, did you have the second in that race, Barry? Did you?
Oh, yeah, Astro King, yeah.
Oh, Astro King, yeah, don't go there. Oh, wrong side, of course, wasn't it? Of course, in the hunt car. Barry, let's come to you. As we got We've got to run about 10 minutes still to the last. Number one highlight of the week.
I thought the King's Stand was a cracking race to watch. I really did. I thought Battash, obviously, everyone was expecting him to win. Oxted came back, Kieran Fallon riding him. I thought it was a marvellous race to watch. I thought the Commonwealth Cup was great. I thought the Prince of Wales with Love was fantastic. Subjecting us both on and off the course for the very reasons that Mattie just said. Joe Fanning seems to be eminently popular among his peers in the weigh room, and for them all to come out and do a round of applause for him like that, we were saying, "Gee, what's going on? Is it his 1,000th winner, or is he retiring, or what's happening?" It was just he's a thoroughly decent fellow by all accounts, and they were just delighted to see him ride a winner, a Grade 1 winner in Royal Ascot. And, that's great to see. That's what the game's all about. And those fellas in the weigh room, the camaraderie that they have, to see them come out and congratulate him like that, I thought was a lovely touch.
Absolutely, yeah, it was. So Joe Fanning, nice to see some narrative there, not just about the horses on the show, of course, also the jockeys as well. Graeme Rodway, number one performance of the week.
Number one performance of the week.
Apart from working with the bat.
Wonderful.
Tipping the last winner yesterday.
Tonight.
Yeah, I would not the last winner yesterday, not Quickthorn.
Well, that was my
professional reputation somewhat restored.
That was my personal highlight. But the best performance, I think, of the week, wonderful tonight, was superb today, I thought, on really testing ground after going so freely through the race. First time out against the Colts and the Geldings, and everything seemed against her, and she just blew them away in such spectacular fashion that I thought that was the number one performance of the week. But yeah, from a personal perspective, of course, breaking the hoodoo, Quickthorn, what was fantastic.
The hoodoo and voodoo no more. Hugh Masson comes on to give us his highlight. Posty backing Batage when Barry wanted to lay it was a highlight. Yeah, that was a great moment of the week. Oh, if only you were in here. You know that, Barry? We didn't even pick up on it. So the first day, Charlie Post, he has done the trading before. Do you remember when the two of you were in? You were sitting in the middle, so he kind of had to do it, and he was getting red and all that sort of stuff. He wasn't overly keen to do it. Let's just say that when he came in. And actually, as we were all setting up, first day of the week, we're buzzing, all that sort of thing, and Posty was sort of kind of a bit quiet out there. Anyway, he's come in. He's tried to sidestep, so Millman had to do it. Right, but Rob, he tried to get in that seat there. And Rob went, "Oh, hey, Posty, what are you doing?" And I said, "Barry, Posty's doing it." He went, "Oh, don't worry about it, Charlie. We'll learn about it," all that sort of thing. Anyway, got the first couple out the way. So it's like riding a bike, falling off a horse for you, isn't it? All that sort of thing. Anyway, Batage was Barry's big lay of the day. This was the juicy one. And we're all sort of concentrating while he's doing it, we're not looking at the screen. All of a sudden, a load of eagle-eyed viewers out there goes, "Was that blue? He's backed it." So we had to go back, take a new prize and everything. He went totally ready. He thought, I'm never coming back on here again. Which was, Hugh, you're absolutely right. That was a real highlight, Barry, wasn't it?
Yeah, we managed to salvage the situation though. Thankfully, the market came in our favour, so we got out of it. We got onto the pink side. I didn't know he was colourblind. I thought he knew the difference between blue and pink. But he got there in the end. Yeah, we've had some great days, haven't we? These last 5 days, we've had some good laughs.
We really have, Barry. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all been about. I mean, Barry, you've been with me every single day. I mean, normally, Barry, a word for you. You're out on the track. You're getting all the quotes. You're doing all the publicity for Boxford, for Betfair. You're going into the boxes, all that sort of stuff. It's been a really hard year for you, Barry, but you wouldn't know it, man.
I've enjoyed every step of the way, to be perfectly honest with you. It's great. I don't miss traveling in airports and Ubers and trying to rush through airports and get out of race meetings fast. And I don't miss it. I don't miss it as much as I thought I would. Now I'm itching to get back. Having said that, I hope my wife's not watching this and she'll have me here all the time if that was the case. But no, I've really enjoyed my stints on Racing Post Live. It's great, and I think it's great for us to be able to showcase the functionality of the exchange and hopefully help people along the way and explain. And if anyone's out there and viewing and really doesn't know about it, all they have to do is drop us a line or DM me on Twitter, and I'll go through it with them, no bother at all.
There you go. And how did we do for the charity over the week before King Frank will hopefully boost it for the final time?
Yeah, hopefully we get a boost off that. We're winning about 800 quid so far this week for charity, for the racing welfare. So we're happy we'll get a check off to them at the end of the month if we don't. Hopefully we'll add to it next Saturday. I'm not on myself. Hopefully Mark's going to be on, but he can add to it. That'll be great. And we'll get a check away to them in the post by the end of the month.
A well-deserved break then for Barry. It's been a fantastic stint so far for the big hitter himself. And Mark Horowski coming back on, delighted to hear that. Mark's a real rising star at Betfair. I know that you guys like him out there as well. The pilot Horowski, the drone flyer. You've been on with him. We're going to call him the pilot.
Last week, wasn't it? He was on.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, he was, of course, wasn't he? Horowski. Yeah, he's really getting the game now, which is great. We use Darren Hughes, of course, and bless old Neil Hubbard out there somewhere in his Betfair cupboard. Hopefully Neil will be coming on the originator at some point as well. It's been a great week. The guys have been doing loads of good work, sterling work in the gallery, of course. Rob Lee, our senior producer, somewhere is on track. He backed wonderful tonight, and we're hoping to get a word with David next week, probably, and all that sort of thing. I'll tell you what, the fear for him on track at the minute. I fear for him. His whistle wouldn't fit yesterday either, I don't think. So, yes, having a right old panic as well. We've had Paul Keeley joining us as well, Chris Cook from the track as well. It has been a sizzling week. I think my number one highlight, not that you asked, by the way, I thought G was going to tee it up.
I was going to, but then I thought no one's interested really, are they? So.
No one's really listening. I think it might have been love, I think it might be love. I think it might be Love's performance. Everyone was against her, weren't they? And I know she went off even money or whatever, but she was, when North came out, there was a lot of bad vibes from, the previous Saturday. Do you remember Mark Horowski said, I might try and get some extra markets, see if we can, it's the lay of the meeting. North came out and totally changed my mind, and I had 2 horse racing. The way she looked beat, filled her lungs, and then went again over an inadequate trip. First time out, proving it she could do it against the Colts.
Proves that she's got a bit of class as well.
Yeah, 2 mares on their seasonal debut. Obviously wonderful tonight, and Love. They both put in cracking performances.
Yeah, Love. And she's got all those options, Barry, hasn't she? And what a narrative. We were saying, Barry, is it Eclipse, King George, is it Arc? We just don't know. Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, she could go to the Pretty Polly at the end of the month if that race hasn't taken much out of her. She's all those summer highlights as well. She could head to York, but it's all about the Arc in October for her.
Just fingers crossed they all stay safe and sound, these horses. Okay, so basically, okay, what were we saying? Oh yeah, we are on every Saturday. Apparently you're saying, I'm hearing from the producers and all sorts of things. We are on every Saturday. That's how the narrative is. Unless something strikes or the weather or whatever, anything like that. We had before. We had a social media boycott, of course, which we observed. We went on that Saturday. But we are on every Saturday. All the big festivals coming your way. There's even rumours we might even follow ITV and do the Breeders' Cup now. Who wants to see that out there? Get some sizzling Saturday night stateside action. That would be good, wouldn't it? Oh, that was something I suggested we should have done.
I think we'd have to do that from San Diego.
Oh, there we go. And I'll tell you what, the amount of expenses that you've saved with your Ubers and your planes and that. Yeah, I'll tell you what, you need to go upstairs and you've got the budgets, Barry.
That'd be good if we could do that from on site, isn't it? Where the surf meets the turf, isn't that what they call it?
Absolutely.
That's it, yeah. Surf
Bing
meets the turf.
Crosby's track, wasn't it? He was feverish punter there, where the surf meets the turf in Great Del Mar. Oh, yeah, absolutely. All right, there you go. There you got it. So listen, thanks for watching this week. It's been absolutely brilliant. We do have one more race to go. And it is the...
Dave, there's an interesting jockey book in here.
Go on.
Colin Keane for Hugo Palmer.
Interesting.
Irish legend. He's won 3 of his 4 races. The only race he disappointed in was behind Alan Kerr in Sandown. He won a handicap last day. That was the classic trial in Sandown. I don't know what the excuse was that day. It was too bad to be true. He was beating 27 lengths. He came out the next day and won a handicap off 87 in Newcastle. Now, he's towards the bottom. He's a 33-1 chance, but I like it. Colin Keane, obviously, top jockey in Ireland, and without a shadow of a doubt, you know, if anything ever happened to Ryan Moore, the Coolmore job would be Colin Keane's. Maybe a couple of years' time if Ryan decides to jack it in. You know, he's the heir apparent there. But, you know, first time blinkers on, off a rating in 90. And Hugo Palmer used to use, Lord rest him, Pat Smullen to great effect when he went over to the UK.
Yes, he did.
And always did. And this is just, it's a jockey booking that caught my eye. I don't know much about the horse, but like I say, his only bad run was behind the horse that slooshed in yesterday in the Ascot Derby, Alan Kerr. And it was probably too bad to be true, that run. But he's obviously got a bit of talent, this horse. Blinkers for the first time today. And he could run well at a big price. 26 he is now from 30.
Yeah, and he has one on soft ground as well. Ken Ho basically owns him, who's a Hong Kong owner. He's got a huge investment in Australia and some absolute top
I see
sprinters.
Sunderland Holdings bred him, actually, and that's the people who used to own See the Stars.
That's it, of
that
course.
family, the Choi family.
My Oberon and all the great fillies.
And Urban Sea, owned Urban Sea, that family.
And what was the filly that chased home an Able in the Arc, of course, in Masterton Holdings, isn't it?
See the Star, See the Moon.
Yeah, Ken Sui, isn't it? I want to... so he's interesting. The other one, and this hasn't quite borne out, actually. Keels basically told me and Rodders yesterday that Pythagoras would go off favourite in this. He thought it was so monsoon-like and that the doomsday weather had arrived that Pythagoras would absolutely be the gambler of the race. It hasn't quite materialised, has it, G? But he's all over this. This is his nap. And he's on a hat-trick.
It's got a good chance, Pythagoras. Handles soft ground, won on soft ground at Pontefract, run a couple of interesting races, particularly in the Dante, when he made a big move in the middle of the race. Yeah, I think you could run well, Pythagoras.
All right, couple more to go in then, Pythagoras. Good luck if you're on that. And don't forget, like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Final chance to do it. Final chance to bag a winner. Good luck then. Wherever we go in the brilliantly named Golden Gates handicap, then off we go. Oh, there's a right old battle on for the lead here. He wasn't brilliantly away, King Frankel. Frankie already rowing, but he's up there now. Will he take the lead? Let's have a look. Looks like he wants to share it. Visualisation up there.
They're not hanging about here for a mile.
They're not hanging about. They're cracking along. Pythagoras is up there. Fantastic Fox is up there. Ryan Moore.
Free my one, Dave. I'm a bit worried if he's a bit free.
He's sweat up as well. It's SDS on the round course. King Frankel now has managed to go about 3 wide because he had to fight for that lead. Visualisation is up there. Look who's that gone right outside. Is that Baton Rouge under Ryan Moore?
Rouge.
Right out the back. Let's have a look for the stragglers at the minute. Jim Crowley's out there at the moment. Alphadel, I think C-Set's out the back as well. They've just steadied it now. SDS is dropping the anchor. Looking in second, that's Tom Marquand on Stay Well for Hughie Morrison, bidding to basically top and tail the shows. Of course, he's the Quickthorn trainer. River Alwen, he's got form with King Frankel, isn't he? He's in the pack. Definitely slowed it down, G.
Yeah, he slowed it down. He's still over-racing a little bit, the leader, though, and there's obviously a big pack behind him. All seem to have settled quite well, Dave, don't they? River Alwen settled nicely out the back there.
He's going to need to be Dreamer Dreams, G, isn't he? OK, Barry, we're on the far side. They're shunning that rail again. Anyone hot?
Yeah, fantastic Fox into 2-1 now. 11-2 King Frankel and 13 Pythagoras. That come in significantly.
OK, let's have a look. Sarumi out the back without Revenge out the back as well. Oh, I'll tell you what, Ryan Moore's had a murderous trip, but Baton Rouge is still in with some sort of a chance. Glintanius as well for the Sangster colours. OK, here we go then. Fantastic Fox. Gee, are you getting excited or has he gone too hard? Here comes King Frankel with Frankie. This is going to be massive. Frankie goes right down the inside. Pythagoras still on the bridle.
Look at
this on the inside. What's this on the inside? Foxtails. Is this Foxtails? It can't possibly be, can it? What's this on the inside? Come on, someone shout it out.
Foxtails.
Foxtails.
Foxtails, okay, in the
gone.
corners.
He's gone.
King Frankel's running absolute blinder. He's not going to be good enough, though.
Oh,
where's he
going?
Oh,
He's going all over the track.
Here. Oisin
he's
Murphy,
all right.
he's taking it out. He's come on the inside. He's ended up basically in Berkshire, but he still won it. Visualisation, massive run there. And was that the horse that Barry mentioned, Irish Legend, running on into third? Look at Oisin Murphy. That's how you celebrate, Barry.
Yeah, Visualization hit a low of 4.1. Oisin Murphy, that's him, claims the champion jockey at the festival at the Royal meeting for the first time. Visualization, hit a low of 4.1. Fantastic Fox hit a low of 2.64, so 13 to 8. And the horse that we flagged up, Irish Legend, hit a low of 5.2. But a great win for Oisin Murphy. With a Betfair SP of 9.12.
I wish all the jockeys would do that, just raw emotion as they go past. Oisin Murphy, and again, you remember during the winter, it was a tough time for Oisin, wasn't it? He's now the leading jockey at Royal Ascot. Last to first again, G. You got the wrong King Power horse.
I did, yeah. My one was beaten after about 4 furlongs.
He set it up for him, hasn't he?
Far too free. Fantastic Fox. Had no chance of getting home. I'm amazed that he hit such a short price in running. I didn't think he was going to win it.
2 to 1 turning in, Barry said, and I went, ooh, I grimaced at that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a stiff old finish there, and you do not get home if you've been 2-3, and he didn't get home. Come right from last. What a week for Andrew Balding.
Yes.
And Oisin Murphy.
Yeah, he's had a great week, yeah.
Okay, all right, okay. So last to first, Foxtails. Walsh was in my ear during that, but he must have backed it because he was screaming. I couldn't hear what Barry said, couldn't find out which one it was. Batch, a strong race we're thinking that one, and this is, it's got to be a group horse because he's literally covered half the track. To track us again, it's what we need.
Yeah, he's done it well.
Yeah, all up the inside.
The Joseph second, isn't it?
He threw it away at the
Joseph
end.
second again. Frustrating week for Joseph O'Brien then. But that's run really well. Visualisation. There was some love out there, wasn't there, from our viewers. King Frankel.
The third horses ran a cracker. He was last turning into the straight, and he came up. He ended up going up the inside.
Yeah.
He got that's a good run from the third horse. I'd mark him up for that. And there's probably races to be won with him back on better ground again. Yeah,
there'll be loads of winners coming out of that. Don't give up on King Frankel, I don't think, as well. Probably wants a mile 4 now, I would imagine. As he goes up in trip, he's just stayed there. He's in 4th, basically, and that would be the London Gold Cup, well advertised. Loads of winners coming out. Great horsemanship there, Batchelor, on the head on. Because that horse, 9 out of 10 people are falling off that, aren't they?
Yeah, if they go that quick, sometimes you can just lose your balance and it can just chuck you off. But yeah, Oisin's good horseman. He does a lot of show jumping as well. He does.
Yeah, I've been hearing about that, yeah.
He was going to compete in one of the shows later on down the line. But yeah, good horseman, pulled his stick through, straightened the horse up and got the job done.
Okay. The Tories on the last 2 favs, however, G. I'll see you've been telling the news desk about that. Does that mean he's got it now, Oisin? Is that crystal clear?
Yeah, it's all over.
It's all over,
yeah.
says Barry. When Barry says that, that's that. So Frankie probably second, Ryan looking maybe they'll be fighting out there. Great moment for Oisin Murphy. That's another great story that you'll be hearing about here at the Racing Post. That is the end of us for Royal Ascot 2021. As we know it, crowds back. What a week we've had. The weather, the stars, equine and human. You out there as viewers as well. Mattie Batch, Sterling's session, old boy. Back to Jersey next week to ride a few classic winners, me old boy.
Yeah, next Friday, but I've got to fly out there Monday to beat the new restrictions. So I've got to get out there Monday and spend a week away from the missus. She'd be delighted.
Thrilled. Absolutely, Batch, brilliant. We'll hear all about Jersey when you come back. G-Rod, we got the hoodoo out of the way. Frustrating day today, but you massively enjoyed it.
Yeah, been a great couple of days. Good to get the hoodoo out of the way. Yeah, disappointment today, but we'll be back to fight another day, Dave, as always.
Ever, my man. Barry, your final word to you then. Thanks a lot, Barry. Some stint. Go and enjoy those Desperados, man.
Yeah, Dave, you've done a great job anchoring it all over there in the UK, and everyone who contributed on the panel has been fantastic. But special mention to G-Rod, getting that monkey off his back yesterday. Onwards and upwards, G-Rod, the rest of
it was bigger than a monkey, Barry. It was King Kong.
It was probably the child catcher. Okay, great stuff. We've had loads of fun. Thanks to Barry. Thanks to everyone at Betfair as well. Thanks to the social team. Thanks to the gallery. And thanks to you. Royal Ascot, it's done. See you next Saturday.